He's managed to get himself on the inside, but he's caught up on the curve. Sean Allen, the outside special. We've had a huge crash. This can't be real.
I think he might have this job done finally. Ethan Warren gives him no space. He's in the wall. He's in the wall. Turn 4, and he's taken out Bruce Dean as well. Oh, big moment there. Kurt Stenberg on his roof.
Big crash at turn 4. That is an unfortunate huge crash. The huge wiggle on thought he was clear.
Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to you for the second time in 2 weeks at the Townsville Street Circuit. My name is Stairs, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome back Madbird to the commentary box.
Thank you very much, Stairs. I'm very excited to be here at Townsville, a track that I've never actually watched a race at or commentated on one at, so I'm very interested to figure out the intricacies of this circuit.
Our huge thanks indeed to Matt Dunlop for filling your fairly large shoes for the last 2 weeks, Madbird.
Yeah, size 12.
Oh, goodness.
Which, you know what they say about big shoes
hard
is
to find a ski boot.
Yeah. I was just going to say hard to find in general.
Yeah,
but
you go to the ski rental shop and, you know...
You'd know about
the
that.
Chicago
sure,
Bulls have already come through. It's like, sorry, none in your size.
Oh, goodness me. I missed some exciting racing by the looks of it, but I did catch some of it on the streams. Very well done from yourself and Maddie, so I'm very excited to be back in the box, though.
Yes, and those results had a bearing on the points, and the points currently sit as stands. So Dane Warren kicked away after Sean Allen caught up a little bit in the first Darwin round, but Dane Warren reasserting his dominance in the last couple of rounds over this championship. Kurt Stenberg in third place, quite solidly up there. Brody Steen doing a good job to back up his teammate Sean Allen for Race on Oz. And we've got Zach Baker in fifth place. Colin Warwick holds down sixth. He splits the two ZB guys. And then once again, I failed to read those names quick enough in order to complete the top 10.
It's a lot of names, Stairs.
It is.
It's a lot of names, and you've got to give a little bit of context as you're doing it. So it's I don't envy you the task, and you can see there the numbers and the names all the way down to number 20 of Jack Handel.
Yeah, I haven't seen Jack Handel for quite a while. It would be nice to see him make his return. We're approaching the Bathurst 1000. Maybe he could come back for that one.
Very excited for that. I think we've got some big plans in the offing. This is the Teams Points Championship, and as you can see, Race on Oz with a very clear lead of about 700 odd points over ZB Racing, and then Trans-Tasman Racing in a distant third, about 700 points back again. RSM Racing in fourth. Logitech G Altus Esports, which is no longer actually a team.
Yeah, RSM just usurping them in the last round.
Good on them. And Stealth Penrite Racing, which I believe is also no longer a team.
Correct.
Pleb Sim Sport in seventh, and I've done myself a mischief just like you, Steve.
Yeah, I derailed you a little bit there, it must be said. Let's take a look at, speaking of derailed, the revised schedule that was derailed by the COVID pandemic, of which I'm sure you're all aware of its existence.
What's COVID?
Don't know. But here is the last 5 rounds of the championship, currently on the second Townsville SuperSprint, the SuperSprint 2.0, if you will, in what I like to call Super September, as we're doing 4 races in September, going to the Bend back-to-back after this, after a 1 week break, which I think we'll all be a little bit glad for. And then after that, the Bathurst 1000, with still a date to be set, but there are whispers that it will be the 1st of November to avoid clashes with other series such as the AMS Oz and the V8 Scops Championships, and also the football finals, which find themselves towards the end of October as well.
Yes, and we'll see Port Adelaide winning the grand final, obviously. No doubt in my mind about that at all. Just got Matt Dunlop, who did fill in for me in the last couple of weeks, just saying, hey, and then asking, is there a drop round for the point standing, Stairs?
Well, there was supposed to be one before Bathurst, so I guess that was the rule. Before the calendar changed, they were allowed to drop 1 round, and I think that is still the case. But of course, the championship has definitely been mixed up a little bit. And so, essentially, the only round they can't drop will be the Bathurst round. So that is definitely going to count for a lot, isn't it, Matt?
It will. So there's no... Because we obviously are following real life supercars, there's no more... it was originally going to extend out into February next year. That's no longer the case.
Brody Steen's just come a cropper at the... I think it's the end of this practice session.
I keep thinking this is Adelaide stairs when I'm looking at it.
It does bear some similarities. Maddie and I were talking about that. Maddie, I say Matt Dunlop, not Mad Bird, which can also be shortened to Maddie. We were talking about the similarities that this circuit does have to the Adelaide Street circuit, and also a little bit to the Albert Park Street circuit.
I can see that.
Similarities. Might as well go for an on-board lap, shall we, with Steve Warwick, father of Colin Warwick. I don't know if he'll get to finish this lap because the checkered flag is out for this practice session. But we're still about 20 minutes away from getting underway and qualifying.
Just to it also, this corner in particular reminds me quite a bit of the Long Beach circuit in America. So, which I remember crashing off in my Toyota Capri many times. Toyota Capri? Ford Capri.
Ford Capri.
My goodness.
Not a Toyota Capri.
Not a Toyota Capri. We've also got Blair Warren, father of Ethan and Dane, who are currently sitting at the top of the standings for the practice session. Just saying good evening, guys. Look forward to another enjoyable night of racing and quality commentary. Always entertaining. We try our very best, Blair.
Yes. Good to have you watching along. Blair, we've been having some chats and definitely an announcement coming with Blair Warren very shortly indeed.
Very exciting.
But we're still under the practice conditions. So 2 races tonight, and the first of them will be a 19-lap race, just a sprint, just like we had in the first, second, and third races last week. And then we'll have a longer race of 39 laps, which will bring some interesting strategy elements to the fore, and a top 10 shootout to decide the order for that race.
Yeah, so should be some interesting strategy in that second one. Quite a long race. That's about 45 minutes worth of racing here around Townsville for race number 2.
Yep.
So very much looking forward to that. And I saw there was some pretty decent action during the sprint races last week as well. So we definitely aren't in the we aren't looking forward to a boring race one. It should be most entertaining. And have we ticked over into qualifying? Is that
No, we're still in a practice session. The practice session finished a little bit early, and so that's why we're timer's sitting at 2 hours 45. We're going to get away at 7. I was going to say 7:30 our time, but that's 8 o'clock for everyone on the eastern side of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness knows what for everyone on the western side of the country. My apologies to our Perth-bound dwellers. I can't remember what the time difference actually is.
It's an hour, isn't it? It's an hour back from Central, so they'd be an hour and a half behind the eastern states.
I couldn't remember if it was an hour or an hour and a half.
I just remember when we were running the 3 hours of Suzuka, the Apex Rear Wing 3 hours of Suzuka. Kurt Stenberg and RSM clan were most generous in allowing us to use their servers to host the event on, and Kurt said, look, you're going to have to start it up because I'm not waking up at... it was due to go live at 7 a.m. our time, and he was like, yeah, nah, I'm not going to be awake then. So I can only assume it's before 6 o'clock.
We should do another one of those. That was a cracking event, the 3 hours of Suzuka that we did.
Did have I've procrastinated somewhat in organising it, and by somewhat I mean I haven't thought about it for approximately 12 months, but I was originally going to we were originally going to run a 900 kilometers of the Österreich-Ring.
I like it.
In old Group C cars, so we might still get that going. But
Matt Dunlop, Matty has got a correction for us regarding the time zone for Perth. I think he's just looked it up because he's finished this sentence with apparently. But
which
Perth
doesn't inspire confidence.
2 hours behind the eastern states.
So it's an hour and a half behind us. That's where I got the hour and a half.
We're weird in the central states because we have this half-hour time zone, which is quite unusual.
I remember talking to as a teenager, talking to friends in America or Europe, and saying that I was it was 10:30 here when it was 5 o'clock there or whatever, and they'd always be like, "How is it 10:30? How are you half a time zone?" And it's like, yep, it's us and I think 2 other sets of time zones that have a half-hour difference in them. So we like to be special.
So a couple of people joining us for the first time tonight, and a couple of people joining us for the first time in a while. I'm just trying to find if any of them are taken to the track. We've got Griffin Gardner and Hans Brunswick joining us. Hans actually raced in the Super 2 round last night and got his first victory in Super 2. So welcome, Hans, getting the call up. I think I've called him Hans and Hans in the same sentence, and I can't remember which he prefers, so my apologies to...
Is that the same Hans B that yourself and Maddie are?
Yes. Commentary friend of ours.
Friend.
He's dropped in for a chat with us Apex Rear Wing people. We've also got Lachlan Burke just coming out of the pits in the ZB wildcard at the moment.
Oh, so his first name isn't Jidda.
No, I'm going to ignore that.
Okay. Nathan Higginson just saying... Oh my god, that laugh. Nathan Higginson just saying, "Good evening, gents." Good evening, Nathan.
Good to have you along. Thanks for watching. Thanks for jumping in the live chat. We always like a bit of interaction with the audience.
Absolutely. Keeps us all entertained, so make sure you hop in the chat and give us a hello.
Speaking of hellos, hello to Dane Liccardo.
Oh,
having a huge moment.
He's waving at us.
Out of turn 6, lost his front bar with that one. Driving one of the AAR Mustangs. So apologies for catching that moment, and also apologies for mispronouncing your name for the last couple of weeks. We were reliably informed by Dane himself that his name is pronounced Liccardo.
It's probably the most reliable source.
Exactly.
Is the man himself. So much like Daniel Ricciardo, Dane Liccardo is not pronounced as you would expect from reading it.
So who else have we got on the racetrack at the moment? We've got Rhodey. He's not on the racetrack at the moment, but he's another one who joins us from Apex Rear Wing, and he, I believe, got the call up from Super 2 as well. So good to see Rhodey having a go. This will be quite a challenge for him, but he's obviously done enough to impress the admins and get the wildcard entry.
Always good to see some new faces. I'm just looking at... Do I recognise any names? Or do I not recognise any names, more to the point? No, everyone else seems to be people that I recognise. It's just nice to see a nice full grid.
We love it.
Went away to Kangaroo Island and I've come back and the numbers have shot up. So if I was the reason that people weren't coming along, presumably they'll get the scare tonight.
No, of course not. No, I think everyone's realising that we haven't got many rounds left in this season because we'll be finishing off with Bathurst, so you won't have too many opportunities after early November to race in Automotive Ballista Supercars. So
get it while it's hot.
Get it while it is hot. And then the weather will become hot. And
yes, while it is hot.
And then it won't be particularly fun to be racing in the middle of summer. When you become just a pool of sweat.
Not a fan of this. Not a fan of the fact that we're sort of getting towards that weather now.
You're not a summer man.
No, goodness me, no.
See, the thing is, I the change of season is what gets me. I acclimatise to winter, and then I'm okay with it. And then once it starts to heat up, it's like even if it's 30, I'm like, oh, that's a bit warm. And then I acclimatise, and I'm quite happy with that. And then it gets cold again, and then I have to do the whole getting used. Winter this year, I struggled.
No, I've the last week or so, I've been knocked around by the sudden change in temperatures. I think a bit. My body's struggling a little bit. Slept on top of the covers last night. It was absolutely lovely.
Yeah, I did put the fan on last night. I must admit, It was a bit stuffy.
Was a bit stuffy. Yeah. My partner messaged me and said that the house. I thought I was sick because I woke up all warm and clammy, and I said no, that's probably just the weather.
Here is Rhodey out on track. We mentioned him before, driving the Kelly Racing Mustang. So good to see that Castrol livery getting a run, and good to see some wildcards not driving the wildcard cars.
My goodness! Speaking of wildcards, one of them just overtook him on his, I believe, outlap. And he's straight into the wall. But that was bloody close.
Yes, that was close, and this will be a trick. There's quite a few people exploring the limits right now. We've just seen Thomas McMillan spinning on the exit, as I believe we're having the server reset. Still 15 minutes left until the scheduled start of qualifying, which is at 8:05 Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is 15 minutes from now, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that is correct, but you know, we're no strangers to sudden schedule changes, and I like to think that we roll with the punches pretty well.
You make a good point. This whole year has been sudden schedule changes.
Sudden schedule changes. Nathan Higginson saying not in his case. His computer is sat right under the air conditioner. That must be.
That is a good spot.
That is a very good spot. I wish that my house had an air conditioner in the very small room that we use for sewing and or computer.
Madbird, you know this, but I'm telling you just for the sake of it makes it seem like we're having a conversation and me telling you something.
Absolutely. How are you, Stairs?
But my house has a room which I refer to affectionately as the Nook.
The Nook, yes.
Which is basically an attic, for lack of a better term. And that's where I used to have my racing rig. And my goodness gracious me, in summer, it was probably about 50 degrees in there some days. It was the poor choice. And it's probably why that computer has never been the same. CPU seems to run incredibly hot, and it seems like it's still cooling down from one of the heat waves we had.
Probably the condensation from your sweat probably filled the air, humidified it to the point where it's probably damaged the motherboard somewhat. We've actually got a couple more people who've hopped in while the session's been changing. We've been joined by Brap, and I believe Zach Baker perhaps wasn't in before, or Luke Rosella actually is now in.
Yeah, he was around. I don't think he was on track, but he was.
Because we did have 20 before the before we went live, and then it dropped down to 17, and we're back up to 20 again. So the maximum amount of runners tonight, which is always fantastic.
Fantastic, yeah, great to see. Griffin Gardner, I think I mentioned him before. He raced last year in the Automobilista Supercars Championship for Synergy Sim Racing. Just running a car referred to as a Griffin Gardner ZB in the live timing, which incidentally you can access by going to your browser, getting our keyboard and typing in rsmclanau.liveracers.com.
The old keyboard, or in fact whatever keyboard you happen to have.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Don't find the one that you've kept just in case your current one dies. In the box that your new one came in the cupboard. Everyone, I think, has got a spare keyboard hanging around somewhere.
Mate,
you've got multiple.
There's two down there. I've got one there.
Oh my god! Would you count the one that's attached to the laptop?
No.
No? Okay.
Nah.
Because that is part of the machine. That's
it is part of the machine.
Part of the machine, aren't we all?
If you've just joined us, great. Well, you get to see me stumbling over my words. If you've just joined us, glad you could make it.
There you go.
Thank you for watching. We are going to start qualifying at the end of this practice session, which is going to be roughly 10 minutes from now. And for the time being, we're just introducing you to some of the people who are in this server, but we might introduce you as well to the racetrack. Now, I think Brodie Steen might be coming to the end of the lap, so when he crosses the line, we'll jump on board with him, Matty, and we'll go for a lap around this Townsville circuit.
Just called me Matty.
Matty as in Mad Bird.
Ah, okay. Let's just call me Mad Bird, because I feel like Maddie and Matty are far too close
Noted.
together.
Second time in a week that I've been corrected on how to pronounce someone's name. But let's go on board here as Brodie Steen makes his way down to the first corner. Games audio is missing. We've been reliably informed from one of our astute viewers, Matt Dunlop, so apologies for that. That's a bit strange, and I've just figured out the reason why that is. There we go. No, I haven't.
So coming through turn 3, and then into turn 4, which really isn't much of a corner, and then turn 5, which is quite quick, but you got to just touch that inside curb. Turn 6, and then you're onto a bit of a straight, down towards turn 7, and then 8, and then 9. This sort of reminds me of the sort of third sector of Catalunya. Those 3 corners. It's sort of two tight ones, and then a tiny little straight, and then another quick right one. So, and he's gone very deep there at, I think that was turn 11.
Yeah, we might have another go at this at some other point. So I believe we got the audio back for one of our cameras and not the other one. So we'll try and rectify that. I'll let you talk us through what's going on, Madbird.
Absolutely. So Brody Steen shooting on down towards turn 2. He's just gone through turn 1 there. And it's quite a heavy braking zone into turn 2. And this sort of long curving straight hemmed in by these walls under the Fuso sign. That does not look like the old Fuso Sumo. As he goes through turn 3, a little bit of a kink, and then another one into turn 4. And then this is turn 5. He's gone through just there with the Cooper's sign, and then runs out nice and wide on the exit of 6. Down and into turn 7, and then the tight turn 8. Tiny little squirt down into turn 9, and then a longer run to turn 10. And then long straight down to turn 11. This reminds me of the end of the Long Beach circuit, actually, where you've got quite a long acceleration zone, but with a little kink in the middle that you've got to judge very well. You can take it flat, but it's tricky. And then through turn 13 and onto the start-finish straight for Brody Steen. We'll see what sort of lap time this is. Doesn't look fantastic. A 1:11.5, so nowhere near his personal best, but still second so far in this practice session.
Now, this was the section he's coming up to now, which is actually turn 2. It's the first braking zone of the lap. But now he comes through this section where you've got these sort of fast left-rights. This part was what I was referring to that reminded me a little bit of Albert Park here as he comes through this section. It's kind of like the approach to, well, you get 5 and 6 and 7 at Albert Park. And then the last part of the lap, which is a bit more of a purpose-built section, that's the part that reminds me a bit more of Adelaide, the section that he's coming up to now. A little bit less runoff than you get in the Adelaide Street circuit, as the wall is right up against the track there. But it's a bit of an amalgamation, and a good one at that. Incidentally,
yeah, sort of. No, sorry, go ahead.
I believe we've sorted out sound issues, so apologies for the missing sound earlier in the broadcast. I believe it's coming through loud and clear now.
Do let us know in the chat. Very much appreciate the feedback that we get. And we did have We have
a very specific question coming through.
I was just trying to process that. Nathan Higginson, I have a question. I'm working on the V8 Supercars 1993 to 2002 mod, as he said before. What do you think of the Toka 3 menu music for the mod? Nostalgia kick? And then Matt Dunlop says, big yes. So it's definitely got his seal of approval.
Yep.
I've got no idea what Toka 3 is, Des, if I'm 100% honest.
Yeah, I think it's before my gaming days, to be honest.
Matt Dunlop is an old man, so it would make sense for him to...
He's like 4 years younger than we are.
Oh, God, don't remind me.
Okay.
He also said, Matt Dunlop, just before, good save, Stairs. I believe that was in relation to you calling me Matty and then saying, oh, I meant Matty. And then
I actually did mean Matty. I just call you both Matty. You're the two Matties.
Fair enough. Matty and Speedbird. Oh,
big congratulations to Alex Cattle, who jumped down into the Super 2 round yesterday and also picked up a win along with Hans Brunswick. So Alex Cattle, very good to see him going in there and building up a bit of confidence in that series as well.
He's been a decent performer in the main series. The Race on Oz guys, I mean, they probably don't need it, but they wouldn't turn away the points that he's been sort of bringing in. It hasn't been getting huge results.
It doesn't count towards the main team's points.
That's what I'm saying. They wouldn't turn him away if it did, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because they are leading quite handily at the moment from ZB Racing.
Yeah, they are. And that was something that I think Sean Allen mentioned earlier in the year. They were targeting that. They very much were proud of their achievement last year in getting the team's championship and definitely wanting to back it up and very much on the way to doing so.
Oh,
as Alex Cattle gets a little bit
out of the wall.
He did. He kept the car intact which is less important in sim racing, but always a, you know.
It means that you don't have to go back to the pits. You know, you don't have to do a whole new outlap. It still has its benefits, even if it isn't, you know, even if you're not docked pay.
So we've only seen 8 drivers set a time in this practice session, so some of them electing not to come out in this case.
Perhaps getting a last-minute pit stop out of the way before...
A few we haven't even seen. Griffin Gardner hasn't actually taken to the track in the time we've been on air, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of pace he rolls out with when we get cracking in qualifying.
I will say, Stez,
yeah.
something in your house is smells amazing. I reckon it might be garlic bread.
Oh yeah. Well,
it's all that's filling my nose at this moment.
Not. Have you eaten dinner?
I had a burger from Hungry Jack's.
Oh yeah.
So you know, not really
nutritious. I did have a burger for lunch actually. Oh, that was close to the wall for Brap there.
It.
Yes, the good thing about living with multiple housemates is that you get to smell what they're cooking for dinner. Well, maybe that's not a good thing sometimes, because, you know, you wish you were having it yourself. But definitely I picked up a few recipes that I wouldn't have otherwise, just by saying, oh, what's that? What'd you put on that? Can I put some of that on? Yeah.
I've actually contributed to some of the meals in your house. I believe earlier in the year I went out into the kitchen and your housemate Steve was... He just had sausages or something in the pan, and he was just sort of limply poking at them. And I said, "What are you making?" He's got, "I've got no fucking idea."
Oh, there goes the first.
Sorry, I've got no bloody idea. And I think I said something about, oh, you know, curried sausages are pretty good, and he made something of it. He's like, I found some curry powder or something. I could smell it later in the night. I don't know. I might be pulling that out of my ass. I believe that was something that happened, but.
He's got quite a good culinary nose, does my housemate Steve. I don't know if I'm sharing too much about him, but he grew up in a household where it was meat and 2 veg, and, you know, pepper was a little bit too spicy. So, you know, I think he's branched out since moving out of home.
Higginson with the mod, now the garlic bread, says Daniel Cox. Well, I'm not sure what the context of that statement is.
Well, just talking about things that are being said. Such as Higginson with the mod and now the garlic bread.
We've ticked over to 0 minutes, 0 seconds, and indeed 0 hours.
Get excited.
In this practice session. You're all a bunch of teasers, says Daniel Cox.
No, we don't get to eat the garlic bread.
No, I'm being teased just as much as you are, Daniel, I assure you, as we hop over into our qualifying session.
Now, I haven't got the normal graphics, apologies for that, but I can tell you that the record Dane Warren set last week was a 109.618. And the astonishing thing about that record is that he did that exact lap time to the thousandths of a second twice. For qualifying 1 and for qualifying 2. So that's what we're looking at to break the qualifying record. Or maybe he can do the exact same lap time a 3rd time.
Maybe. Or indeed 4 times if he manages to do it. I was just treated to Stairs looking very much like Beaker from the Muppets.
It's a bit of lag on one of our screens.
There we go. We had vision of cars on one screen and they were not appearing on the other. As you can see there, they're all pulling out quite orderly.
I love that, especially when we've got a camera angle that can show.
They're not in a perfect line. It must be said.
They can't see each other.
That's very true. So it is nice to see them all sort of. It does look like a complete gaggle, actually, but it is nicer than just everyone jumping out. Although here they come.
Yes. Flashes of Monza on the weekend with everyone just filing out of the pit lane. Someone does not have enough turning circle on their steering wheel. Their lock has not managed to get them out.
Was that Brap?
Because I think it was one of the wild cards.
We just had Nick Collinson in the chat saying, don't forget to stay off the fence, Brap. And if that is him, he's failed to do that within 5 seconds of leaving his pit box.
I'm wondering if he's got enough steering lock on his car, on his steering wheel.
That seems a lot like when I would accidentally forget to turn the degrees of steering up in Automobilista, and I would fail to turn out of my garage. Thomas McMillan with this new livery that I'm seeing for, I believe, the 2nd time, but it hasn't been ingrained into my memory as yet. So Still the VB. Still
Well, it's
Clemson
the
Sport.
same basic design, just a bit of grey on it this time.
Is it camo?
Yeah,
It's like camo.
They do the Defence Force thing often at the Townsville rounds, so there's a little bit of an allusion to that. First man on the racetrack is Ethan Warren, actually. We're looking at Kurt Stenberg, who's the car behind him on the racetrack, as they file out to start their first flying lap of this qualifying session. Here is Ethan Warren.
In the black Ethan Warren Privateer Mustang. So there's an Ethan Warren Privateer and a Dane Warren Privateer. So the Warrens choosing not to combine their forces into one Warren team.
No, Dane Warren's actually joined Commander Sim Sports as of last round, and so he is now running the red livery. This is him.
Oh, very nice.
Red and grey for Coanda. So first split time from Ethan Warren was 20.8. Let's see how that measures up to Dane Warren. He's gone about half a tenth faster already.
So it's actually quite, that's closer than I was expecting it to be. Ethan Warren's not usually quite on the same level as his brother.
There's not a lot to Sector 1, there's just one braking zone.
37.1 for Ethan through and 37 point, the exact same sector time for Dane Warren through Sector 2. So
wow,
that is
Ethan
very
has
close.
Gained time through the middle sector.
And this last sector, I reckon, will be the one where it's very easy to lose and gain a lot of time because it's all quite heavy braking zones that you want to carry as much speed through as you can. I think he just tagged the wall there, Ethan Warren, coming through turn 13.
Straight lining it. And it is a 109.7. That is faster than he managed last week. But what can Dane Warren do in response? It is slower than his brother by 1.5 tenths. So Ethan Warren takes the ascendancy very early in qualifying, but we still have 7 minutes left.
Gauntlet thrown. Blair Warren has said whichever one of you gets it on pole is inheriting the house. And
I didn't say that. I know he definitely offered a 50.
He did offer a 50.
Last time you were you were commentating.
I think he offered to wave a 50 in front of their faces to get us some racing. Dane Warren is up through the first sector.
Yes, and Ethan Warren isn't.
So Dane Warren, maybe he's usually pretty blisteringly quick straight out of the blocks, but maybe he's just taking a he's slower through the second sector.
Might be an in-lap.
So maybe he's just taking a little bit longer around this Townsville circuit to get up to speed.
Kurt Stenberg slotted in third ahead of Thomas McMillan while we were talking about that, and Luke Rosella on his return backing up strongly as well in 5th place.
Very good. Yeah, Luke Rosella always sort of, I don't know why, but he always surprises me with his results. Kurt Stenberg comes into the pits, as does many other people.
Yeah. So that's interesting. They're only really going for one flying lap run.
And then coming in instead of just escaping back to the pits.
And Thomas doing the same thing. So pretty much everyone we cut to, I think, is going to come into the pits.
It's basically a Formula 1 qualifying session. Everyone goes out, does one lap, and then they all come back in, and then there's no one on track.
Well, if Sean Allen isn't coming in, he's on a PB. If that's an in-lap, that's disappointing. Because he was up by a few tenths looking at the split on the screen a moment ago. So let's see whether Sean Allen can improve upon the position that he is currently. He is flying around for another go.
He comes so close to that wall on turn 13. Here he comes. It's not too quick. He has improved though.
Well, he found 3 tenths, and it was enough to displace Luke Rosella from 5th place. As there's a bit of a gaggle now coming out. Well, a gaggle. I thought I saw another car. It's just Thomas McMillan.
Well, I mean, Thomas McMillan probably constitutes a gaggle in and of himself.
Yeah, he creates enough mayhem for about 4 or 5 drivers. And we love him for it.
We just got Lachlan Burke Racing in the chat, which I believe would be Lachlan Burke. Just saying that it won't let him back out of his pit box after he escaped from his lap, so that is a damn shame.
Yes, I was going to say that is a damn shame.
Hopefully, those exact words.
Yeah, I was thinking that when you said it.
We're both elderly men.
Yeah,
it's
I like tea.
I don't.
I've gathered a taste for it this year.
I do like. I have started to pick up a taste for wine. So
there you go. Well, I welcome that with open arms.
Very good. We've got a couple of Brap fans in the chat. Just we've got Nick Collison saying, "Don't forget to stay out of the fence, Brap. Try to keep."
You mentioned that.
Try to keep your wheels on the road this race, Brap. Yeah. And LR saying, "Brap, set a good lap time, champ."
Now, speaking of good lap times, Dane Warren is just about to start a lap time. Ethan Warren is in the pits. In fact, about half of our runners currently in the pits. So this could be a crucial moment in this qualifying session. Is Ethan leaving his second run till late? And is this crunch time for Dane Warren?
Yeah, it's a decent second. I call that the first corner, really, because the first turn is more of a kink. But I'm not going to nitpick the corners once again.
We've lost Kurt Stenberg from this session somehow.
Dane Warren is up through the first sector.
Whoa, a lot of curb there. 2 wheels up in the air. Whoa, and again, and that lap is gone. See ya.
See ya.
Wow, this is the pressure
later.
is on for Dane Warren. Ethan Warren has definitely turned up the wick. Thomas McMillan has inherited third place with Kurt Stenberg dropping out of the server, and he's up on his PB. Doesn't look like he'll improve on his position though. He's got to find this thick end of half a second, more than half a second, to jump up to where Dane Warren is currently. But it's looking like a strong session for Thomas McMillan. He looks like he has consistency.
He does. At the moment, his pace won't be enough to get him any higher up the standings, but it's still looking like a PB for himself as he comes through sort of the last sequence of corners. That's turn 11 and then turn 12. It's kind of like one long double apex corner, really, and then hard breakdown into the turn 13 hairpin.
Didn't trouble the apex there.
No, very, very wide as he comes onto the start-finish straight. Crosses the line, and he does improve actually by about 0.2 of a second, but
Good
that
job.
still leaves him 0.5 behind Dane Warren in second.
Dane Warren started another lap, but it's not looking like it's going to improve his position. In fact, he's gone deep somewhere or made a mistake because he's a second off. So
He does have time if he gets back to the pits now and
yeah, he'll have
exits.
to.
Matt Dunlop just saying getting close to rollover territory, and then those kind of creepy looking eyes, left looking eyes emoji.
Oh, he's got traffic as
Dane
well.
Warren right up behind Rhodey.
Yeah, well, he wasn't going to improve on that lap anyway, but even on his cooldown lap.
No.
So he needs to get back quickly, as you said, so he can set a lap time. Ethan Warren is still in the pits, so...
He's put the Q in the rack. He's the Lewis Hamilton of this session, just thinking, well, no one's going to beat that.
Well, they've got about a minute and 15, minute 20,
Dane
probably.
Warren's going around again. He's
Interesting.
very wide.
Well, he's committed
entry.
now to that set of tyres.
Whoa, as Rhodey gives him a show in his rearview mirror.
He does.
Waving a carrot at Dane Warren only makes him faster. Ethan might just pip him here.
Kurt's back. Kurt's
Says-
back in the session and on track currently. There you go.
Very good.
Just letting
Getting out of the
Dane
way.
Warren past.
So Dane Warren just going through this first sector. He's going to catch some traffic. There is some of it getting out of the way for him. That maroon car that I don't recognise, and he's down through the first sector by about a 1/10.5. Oh, sorry, 100th.5 even.
Ethan's still in the pits, sorry to cut across. This is the cutoff time. If you're not on the racetrack now, you're not going to get around for another lap. So Ethan has put the Q in the rack, Madbird.
Dane Warren
And Dane is up. Doesn't take too much curb. That's clean. It's tight margins. We haven't seen the same sort of lap types that he did last week, the 107.6, but he's only just warming up. He could pip Ethan here.
He could indeed. Blair Warren might have crowed too early on his other son Ethan's behalf. Dane Warren coming down and into turn 13 doesn't get too close to the apex actually at the hairpin, but it's looking like a mighty quick lap. Has he done enough? No, he has not. He improves, but not enough. So he has crossed the line, so he can go on to do another hot lap if he's fueled for it, but he is definitely going to have some traffic. He's got Steve Warwick just ahead of him in the, I can't remember his car's name.
The Warwick team.
Yes.
He and Colin sharing the same livery. But, well, Dane's not far away here through the first sector, but it was the last sector where Ethan has got it. He's 0.2 of a second faster than Dane. Dane had the middle sector on the last lap, a 16.277, which was...
and he's thrown it away.
That's gone.
It's all gone. So Ethan Warren
Pole sitter
is going to be the pole sitter unless we have a surprise jump up from lower down, but I don't think we will.
We've got Kurt Stenberg on a lap, but it doesn't look like it's going to improve on his current personal best.
He got so close to that wall.
Thomas McMillan has slowing. Who else have we got?
He has the absence of speed.
Sean Allen in 5th. He's a bit more of a race pace guy as opposed to a qualifying guy.
Consistency and race pace for Sean Allen is his main strength, I would say. He's down on his PB by about a 10th, and he's got some traffic ahead of him.
Not many other cars on a lap, actually. So that's Ethan Warren, pole position. unless Sean Allen can pull something magical out of the hat, but I don't think he will. In fact, I think he might have even backed out of that. No, what on earth am I talking about? He's still going for it.
0.2 of a second he would need to make up to take 4th from Thomas McMillan. I'm not sure he's done that. He is getting a bit of a slipstream down the start-finish straight, but it doesn't look like enough, and it's not. He does not improve on his time. So Ethan Warren leads Dane Warren, Kurt Stenberg, and Thomas McMillan as the top 4. Just heard a almighty crashing noise.
We most certainly did. So Ethan Warren is the pole sitter. He outqualifies his brother Dane with 1 run. He only needed 1 run to do it.
Very well done to Ethan Warren. It's nice to see the other Warren getting a bit of action at the top. With his, but although he does have his brother breathing right down his neck on the race start, so it'll be interesting to see who can get the best start, because that's a very long run down to turn 2.
That's right. They've got that kink, and well, we saw Mayhem Madbird last week on the first lap of all 3 races, actually, where the safety car was out within 30 seconds of the start of last week's races, and poor old Sean Allen got caught up in it quite a bit. And where he is down in 5th place, where he starts from, is definitely a bit of a danger zone for this sort of circuit.
Yeah, it's too high up to really sort of lift out of it and let the others sort of get off ahead of you and have their issues, but too not far enough up that you can just clear out of there and leave all the drama behind you. He's going to be right in the thick of it, especially with the likes of Thomas McMillan just ahead of him.
Well, if you've just joined us, you haven't missed any racing. You have missed qualifying for race 1, and you have missed Ethan Warren out qualifying his brother Dane.
So we're in the warm-up session now. Got 3 minutes for the guys to have a bit of maybe a pit stop for themselves. And just in the chat, seeing Matt Dunlop saying first time this season that Dane Warren's been beaten to pole position. So I know he's missed at least 1 race, so I'm imagining that means of races that he's been here for.
Yep.
This is the only one that he hasn't gotten pole position at. Does that sound right?
His qualifying record has been just absolutely astonishing. I mean, we're just looking at. I was going to say we're looking on the screen. You're not looking at it, but we're looking at Dane Warren's championship, and of the times that he's raced, he's only been off the top step once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times out of some however many 20-odd races. So that's quite a record that Dane Warren holds, and his qualifying record up until now has been just as impressive. Never off the front row, but up until tonight, never off pole.
So very well done to himself to take that position, Ethan Warren, that is. Starting from pole position, and it's that kink is going to be, as you said, hopefully not too much carnage, but a little bit of carnage.
Yeah,
we all like to see a little bit of carnage.
Well, it's turn 2. They tend to get through, and then they all come a cropper at turn 3 because they thought, got through turn 2, and then they
it's like getting into the staircase at Adelaide. It's everyone's like, okay, we got through the chicane all right, this is the easy bit, and then maybe get a little bit ahead of themselves.
Yeah, turn 4.
Andy Simpson just saying, looking forward to the racing, as are we, Andy.
Good to have you along, Andy.
Hope everybody else watching is looking forward to the racing as well. We're just a couple of minutes away from race 1 kicking off. While you've got the time, make sure you've hit that subscribe button. Throw us a like, it does mean an absolute lot to us. Hop over onto Facebook and give us a like on Automobilista Supercars Championship and Apex Rear Wing. And if you enjoy the productions that we put on here, then have a look over at patreon.com/Apex Rear Wing and give us a spare couple of dollars if you feel like it. It's a lot of effort to put these jobs on, and it would be very much appreciated.
So the man you're looking at on screen right now, Ethan Warren, is the pole sitter. Out-qualifies his brother for the first time this year in an Automobilista Supercars Championship. That is quite an astonishing record.
That is very... I don't know why. It never in my life, but the term pole sitter just tickled me in the right way.
You've not heard it before?
I've absolutely heard it before. That's why I'm surprised as to why I'm suddenly finding it humorous to the implication of a man sitting on a pole.
Yes.
But I digress.
Nearly 30 years old.
Don't remind me.
Still, that sort of thing is amusing, and well, we love you for it.
Parker Ferme.
That was the warm-up session. We didn't learn much from it.
No, very little. What we learned is that Ethan Warren has taken pole position, and first time that Dane Warren has been beaten to pole position this season. So, very, very well done to him. This is the circuit. We are in Australia, obviously, at the Townsville Street Circuit. 19 laps for this first race, 55 kilometres, and 13 turns in a clockwise-ly direction. So there's turn 1, turn 2, turn 3.
What was that? Something?
Clockwise-ly.
Ah, yes.
Turn 4, which, you know, I personally wouldn't consider a corner. Turns 5, 6.
That debate again.
7, 8, 9, 10. And it goes on from there until you might be surprised, ending with number 13. Previous winners here were Jake Maloney, Dane Warren, and Dane Warren last time out.
That was last week.
Yep, at the triple header that we had. But it is Ethan Warren starting on pole position this time around, Stairs.
It most certainly is. He leads our grid of 21 cars, and Jake Maloney
snuck in at the end.
He snuck in, and he's doing this again. He did it last week, Madbird. Something that we are quite used to seeing him do, not bothering to qualify because he doesn't think he can match the Warren brothers, and then sneaking his way up through the grid very, very quickly indeed. Madbird, do you want to take us through the grid?
Absolutely. So Ethan Warren beating his brother out to pole position. He starts on the front row alongside his brother, Dane Warren, in second place. Kurt Stenberg, defending champion, in third, with Thomas McMillan for company alongside him on the second row. So that'll be interesting to see. Sean Allen was not able to improve on his fifth place in qualifying, with the first of the Warwick drivers behind him, Colin, in sixth. In seventh, we've got Luke Rosella on his return. Strong qualifying for him. Watch for him to improve his positions during the race. Behind him, we've got Zach Baker, first of the ZB runners, with Alex Cattle with David Nedidich in ninth place. Alex Cattle is then in 10th place, behind David Nedidich, but ahead of him on track. So a decent qualifying there for the satellite Race on Oz team. Behind him in 11th is the main Race on Oz driver of Brody Steen. Could we see a Max Verstappen, Daniel Kvyat switch of Alex Cattle and Brody Steen? Unlikely. Griffin Gardner, he is the one in that maroon car, burgundy-coloured car. In 12th place. In 13th, we have got Hans Brunswick.
G'day, Hans.
G'day, Hans. Fellow commentary friend, the Optimum Nutrition Mustang. Behind him in 14th, we've got RSM Latino in the Rock Solid Mate ZB Commodore. In 15th place, we've got Dane Liccardo in the AAR Mustang. In 16th, we've got Steve Warwick, the second of the Warwick drivers. 17th has got Brap in the Brap ZB. Got a few Brap fans in the chat. In 18th, we've got Rody from Apex Rear Wing racing that Kelly Racing Mustang. Beautiful Castrol car. Lachlan Burke, also known as Lachlan Burke Racing, in 19th place. Lachlan Horan in 20th. And rounding out our grid is Jake Maloney, who's starting in 21st Stairs, but I've got a feeling he's not going to be there for very long.
Yeah, let's try and take notice of where he starts the race on the end of the first lap. But we are about to get racing here at Townsville for the second week in a row, and a jump start for Hans Brunswick. Off the road they go. It's a drag race between the two Warren brothers, and Thomas McMillan sneaks his way up the inside and goes door to door, gets bumped. Kurt Stenberg's in the wall, mirrors going everywhere. We've got Sean Allen getting involved as well. But at the front, it's Dane Warren, who might have the lead from Ethan Warren here as they go through on the first lap. It's Dane from Ethan, so he gets the whole shot after starting second.
Yeah, he manages to get through at turn 2. That looked... and Kurt Stenberg's into the wall again behind them, and that looks like an absolute cluster at turn 3, which is exactly what you predicted, Stairs, I believe. Sean Allen, however, has managed to avoid the drama and gotten up into third place, so very well done for him. Thomas McMillan right behind. And man, I thought that was going to be a lot messier with Thomas McMillan and Dane Warren when they were bumping and barging their doors coming down into the kink. But we'll see if we can get a replay of that. But the upshot is that Ethan Warren has lost his lead to his brother Dane. He's still just behind him. Thomas McMillan making that third position up over Sean Allen coming through the last sector. Sean Allen getting very leery there in the background and goes very deep, does Thomas McMillan. Sean Allen back up the inside and has taken that position back once again.
Great battle going on there for the final spot on the podium. Great battle as well for the lead of this race with Dane Warren leading his brother Ethan. Does Thomas McMillan have another opportunity to dive down the inside? Sean Allen is going to cover off the line. We've got action further on behind. Let's catch a replay of the start of the race from Thomas McMillan's perspective, and he just got an absolutely terrific launch, and probably at this point should have gone through the middle because this wedge was about to disappear. I feel like he commanded a little bit more space there that he probably should have been afforded, but nonetheless, the door was closed. Maybe Dane didn't know he was there, and he lost out, and we saw all sorts of shenanigans kicking off behind.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, having watched that from his onboard, he was well and truly up alongside, and Dane Warren really should have given a lot more space, although I think he had Kurt Stenberg creeping up on his outside as well, so it was a bit of a cluster from all angles. But
Kurt was maybe a bit unlucky, I think, there.
Yeah, I think he sort of, I think Thomas McMillan just sort of got pushed into the wall, which sent him across and into Kurt a little bit. And then Kurt is now down in 21st place, the last of our runners, Stairs. I believe he might have taken a pit stop.
Yeah, we'll check on that.
He's now 1 minute and 11 seconds behind the leaders. So
particularly disappointing for him then.
Yes, having started from 3rd place. Meanwhile, we said we'd have Jake Maloney watch. Jake Maloney currently up into 11th place, Stairs.
Hans Brunswick down in 20th, having taken his drive-through penalty as well, and Kurt Stenberg is a lap down now. So hopefully... Well, hopefully he can do something about that, but I don't know that there is much to do about it. We still have the opportunity for a safety car and pit stop, but, well, Kurt Stenberg's already taken a pit stop. That's what we can get from that. Maybe he could go to the end without making another pit stop and try and gain some of the time back there, because he did that in the in the second Darwin race where he made a pit stop. We made one pit stop with the hard tyres and made them last the entire way. This is them actually lapping Kurt Stenberg.
Yeah, incredible. I was gutted I missed that race. That was the night that I got back from Kangaroo Island, and I sat down on the couch and watched it. It was an absolute cracker, and I was very disappointed that I wasn't in the box. But yourself and Maddie did a fantastic job as always. So Ethan Warren is sort of keeping in touch with his brother Dane. Not really though. He's about 1.5 seconds behind Dane Warren in 2nd place now.
Yeah, Dane just pumped in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:10.3, and that was 4/10 faster than Ethan managed on his best lap.
So the race lap record at the moment for Dane Warren is a 109.967. So he's only about 0.4 of a second off of that at the moment. Here we are on lap 4 of race number 1. And Sean Allen, having started in 5th, has managed to jump a couple of positions off the start and is now in the podium positions, but with Thomas McMillan breathing right down his neck. Kurt Stenberg, you can see there in the background, a lap down, and Lachlan Horan has actually DNF'd from this race. Not sure what happened there, but we are down to 20 runners.
And we've also got quite a good battle going on behind these guys. Colin Warwick holding off Luke Rosella at the moment.
Yeah, so in their starting positions, but you can see there's a bit of a... Colin Warwick's a little bit of the cork in the wine bottle, as it were.
We've got Lachlan Burke just coming out of the pits right now with a fair bit of damage by the looks of it. The bonnet missing from that car, so quite a few people have been in the wars currently.
And he's now inherited that last position on track from Kurt Stenberg. Kurt Stenberg up into 19th place, which will be cold comfort for him. Just got LR in the chat saying, Brap, we need an armour all pole position today. So let's all hope that Brap can pull that out for us maybe in race 2 in the shootout.
Keep your eyes out for Brap in the shootout.
I would put money on that.
Assuming he makes it to the shootout.
That would be incredible odds.
Well, there was someone I read about who predicted the podium at the Grand Prix at Monza on the weekend.
Oh my goodness.
He put a €20. Well, I don't know what the denomination is for cents of a euro, but it might be cents. 20 cents, 20 euro cents, and he made like 33,000 euro or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Jesus. When I hear things like that, I wonder why it's not more common for people to put 20 cents on every possible combination of cars.
Replay
of Lachlan Horan. So this is what happened to him.
all by himself. It looked like a bit of a glitch there. If we just go back, it's almost like his car sort of dipped into an invisible gully there.
Oh.
I don't know if that's a bit of lag
It looked
or something.
like he was already going around before that happened, and must have just had. I wonder if he had some severe damage from that, because that seemed like a relatively small incident to DNF over.
Yeah, possibly. So we've got a few wounded runners out there right now. Lachlan Burke, Kurt Stenberg, Hans Brunswick recovering from a jump start, and Kurt Stenberg had that happen in the final race last week. So not the only man to do that. Definitely keen to get going was our old mate Hans Brunswick after winning in the Super 2 category last night.
So Jake Maloney's incredible forward momentum has been halted somewhat. He got up to 11th position by lap 2, and he's now in 10th. So
Colin Warwick's coming into the pits.
David Nedich doing a very good job of defending against Jake Maloney behind him. You can see Colin Warwick there in the pits, just in the background.
So that's reasonably early. We're on lap 7, but that's probably the first scheduled pit stop we're seeing there from Colin Warwick. Trying to get out of the traffic. Maybe that's quite a good plan.
He was sort of the cork in the wine bottle, as we said. So he might be looking for a bit of an undercut to extend his advantage, as he was already ahead. And Jake Maloney swoops through on David Nedich coming through turn 3. So up into 8th place now for Jake Maloney, starting from 21st, and we're only on lap 7. This guy is just, I don't know, if he reminds me of Max Verstappen when he starts from the rear of the grid and he just sidles his way up. Probably not as well paid as Max Verstappen though.
No, probably not. I'm sure he would love to have a wallet that looks like Max Verstappen's. Of course, he wouldn't want the driver's license that Max Verstappen has, because, well, he's done well for himself. Considering what he looks like, but he very talented.
He looks like the product of inbreeding.
Well, he's actually the product of parents from 2 different countries, which is like polar opposite of inbreeding.
The opposite of inbreeding. And he's actually, Jake Maloney, that is, not Max Verstappen, is coming up behind Kurt Stenberg, his teammate, except there's a lap separating them, so Kurt Stenberg moving over and out of the way of his teammate, not wanting to get in his way. And Jake Maloney continuing on his chase after Brody Steen in 7th place.
Someone falling down the field.
It was a bit of a scary moment there for Jake Maloney. Just looked like he jumped off the curb a little bit too roughly, and his car got very wild indeed. But he's managed to hold on to it, so very well done to him.
So Jake Maloney in a bit of clear air right now. Poor old Kurt Stenberg's having to get out of the way for everyone now. There's big gaggle, including Alex Cattle, Griffin Gardner, and David Nenadich has just gone through. So Kurt's really just in it for the points right now.
And as we say, the points go down to, what,
26th place.
26th
yeah,
place.
Well, actually, 26th, that's what happens in the real-life supercars, but they kind of stop off at an arbitrary number at 26. It's just because that's the limit on the number of cars in a race, I believe, in real-life supercars. But if you kept going down in the same increments of 3, they would actually, in theory, go down to 40th place or something like that. So even finishing last if you were 26th, which isn't possible in a race of 21 cars, you would still pick up a decent haul of points here, as David Nedich tries to look down the inside, or through the middle, I should say, of Griffin Gardner and Alex Cattle, who are busy battling each other over 10th and 9th place, having both been dispatched by Jake Maloney, who's disappeared up the road a little bit.
They have more than 26 cars in Bathurst, don't they?
Sometimes, but there's a lot of, well, there used to be like a lot of wildcard entries and that sort of thing in Bathurst that wouldn't normally contest the rest of the season. We've got Alex Cattle on the inside. I thought we were about to see Kurt Stenberg in the wall there, Madbird, and Alex Cattle, unfortunately, has come off worst in that.
I reckon he might have copped a helping hand from David Nedich, but it wasn't really David's fault. Alex Cattle was quite slow on the racing line there.
Oh.
I reckon that was a bit of a touch.
I think
as he
you're right.
was recovering to the track from going very wide at turn 3. But it has resulted in him being down in 15th place when he was up in 9th, so it's a shame for him.
We've got a few cars in the pits now. So who have we got? It looks like 5 cars, including Ethan and Dane Warren, Sean Allen, Zach Baker, and Luke Rosella as well, who's on our screen. Alex Cattle, unsurprisingly, is coming in as well after that moment he's just had. So, oops, cursor on screen. See ya. So there is the, I think is that Dane Liccardo as well, potentially? It is. So, quite a few drivers pulling the trigger at this stage. We are at the halfway point in this race.
Right about the halfway mark, yep. Nathan Nickerson just saying, biggest grid at Bathurst, I think, from the era we're covering, was nearing 40 from memory, so that would have been one hell of a field.
Definitely grids have got smaller at Bathurst in recent years. It's difficult. Hans Brunswick, now that graphic always gets us with Automobilista. It said before he came to a stop, drive-through penalty, but he served that earlier in the race.
You can see Rhodey has misplaced his front bumper in the background there. So let's hope that he finds it.
Yeah, he might have had a disagreement with the wall.
Very possibly.
The front bar was taken as a prize. So we've now got Thomas McMillan leading the race by virtue of having not made his pit stop.
Jake Maloney only 7 seconds behind him as well. Whoa! As Thomas McMillan hits the wall.
Yeah, just want to quickly update you on pit callers. Brody Steen, Griffin Gardner, David Nedidich, RSM Latino, Brap, and Steve Warwick are all in the pit lane. So it is a busy, busy pit lane at the current moment. There is Brody Steen. He had a bit of an issue with David Nedidich last week in the pits. I don't know if you saw that one, Mad Bird. He collided with the rear end of David, and then David sort of served him one on the way out of the pits.
And fair enough. That's
retribution.
That's a little bit of Seb Vettel punching Lewis with his car at Baku.
Brody did end up with a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Oh, bugger.
Probably because he hadn't slowed down, and that's why he collided with David on the entrance. We all actually watched that afterwards, and there was a lot of laughter.
Thomas McMillan finally pits.
He does. So he will relinquish the lead of the race. Jake Maloney won't get a chance to lead the race, and we're going to see Dane Warren fairly shortly take back the lead of the race.
Yeah, and it looks like the pit stops have been kinder to him than they have to his brother.
Yeah, there he is in the back shot. Just getting past Rhodey at the moment.
Ethan now about 2.5 seconds behind his brother Dane, as opposed to the 1.5 seconds it was before the pit stops.
Oh, Rhodey's doing him no favours at all. What's he doing? He's defending.
Well, he wasn't on the racing line, so...
Yeah, but there's no way you can get through there. I'm rubbing my temple.
Yeah, no, that was I probably would have gotten out of the way if I were in Rhodey's seat just then.
The trouble from Ethan's point of view there is that he's got no idea what Rhodey is doing there. Telegraph what you're going to do, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Anyway.
I think Rhodey may have just been spending too much time looking for his front bar lodged in the concrete somewhere.
It's not lodged in his windscreen. I'm sorry, Rhodey, if you're watching this back, I'm being a bit harsh.
Oh my goodness.
Thomas McMillan. Thomas McMillan had a huge wiggle. I just caught that on the other screen, and he's going to lose probably no time at all there because he shortcut the track.
I reckon that's exactly the same place where he slapped the wall last lap on his in lap.
He got a lot of curb there, so he had a bit of grass on his tyres maybe, and as soon as he hit the brakes here, the thing just got away from him.
Just shot straight forwards like a rocket as Dane Warren has set the fastest lap of the race with a 109.899, which is...
We look towards the lap record.
That is the fastest race lap record.
What was it? 9.899, yes. We're down into the 8s.
So he's brought that down from a 9.967 last week. Very well done to him.
Dane Warren driving superbly tonight.
Now leading by 3.5 seconds from his brother Ethan.
We need to get Ethan a livery, I reckon.
Yep, that black's not doing it for me. Trying to think what brands have EW in them.
Ew.
Ugh.
EW.
Just a series of disgusting pictures. Ugh.
I don't know. Put your things in the chat. Put your suggestions in the chat.
Please don't put your things in the chat.
I think that there's a
filter.
There is a filter. I don't know if you can post pictures in it.
I think you can. Griffin Gardner's DNF'd.
That's a shame. How recently has that happened?
Some stage. He still hasn't been overtaken by Lachlan Burke.
So it was within a lap or so.
So a lap or so in the past. So we'll see if we can get a replay of that. And what else have we got? Have we got any close battles on track? Closest battle at the moment is yet again, I think, between Colin Warwick, Luke Rosella, and Zach Baker over that 5th position. So
there it is.
These three were line astern before the pit stops, and it looks like after the pit stops, nothing has changed.
Yeah,
so
Colin Warwick. I wonder if he'll struggle though. Remember, he came into the pits a bit earlier than the others.
He did. He came in on lap, I want to say 7. And so his tyres are going to probably start to drop off a little bit earlier than theirs.
I think Griffin Gardner just got the shits. He peeled off into the pits. I can't see any obvious reason why.
Had a pit stop. Yeah.
Maybe he didn't have some keybind set or something and didn't have enough. Couldn't change his tyres or something. That's the only thing I'm guessing, really. As Colin Warwick comes through to lap Roadie. Now he went deep there, but the trouble is you don't know if he's going to do that. From a lapping perspective, get off the racing line and do it early, way before the braking zone, because you don't want to be
Luke Rosella
guessing.
trying to cut up the inside as they come onto the start-finish straight, but wasn't quite able to. But he is right on the back of Colin Warwick as they come down this long straight, and he's going to have an incredible amount of slipstream. He's going for the outside. Colin Warwick covers off the inside, coming down to turn 2. Luke Rosella tries to drive around the outside, but he just does not have the ability to do so. He does cut up the inside, though, but Colin Warwick covers that off, and very well defended there from Colin Warwick, must be said, as they come into turn 3 and onwards through the lap. So Colin Warwick holds on to that 5th position at this stage. But Luke Rosella making a very strong case for overtaking him at some stage in the next few laps. 4 laps left in this race.
Yeah, it's gone quickly.
It has. Dane is known for doing race liveries. Nope, never mind.
Oh.
As I was reading it, Blair retracted his comment. I think there was a typo in it because I was kind of tripping over it. Go Hans, says Loose89.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Lewis.
Lewis Wedding, who has graced us with his presence every now and then. Is that a bit of a dive from Luke Rosella on the back of...
That was close.
It was close. He's trying to get as close as he can. And a bit of a wiggle. This might give Luke Rosella an opportunity. Colin Warwick struggled under traction to get the power down, and they're going to drag their way all the way down to this first braking zone here at 2. There's a bit of door-to-door contact there with the ZB car. Has a watching brief behind, but not Kurt. What am I talking about? Colin Warwick holds on for now, but there's more contact, and Luke Rosella is going to muscle his way through. The door is open, and the door is shut.
That door was open the barest amount. That was being held open by a leaf. A particularly strong leaf, and then it just went, and the leaf crumbled under the weight of the door.
Well, this has brought Zach Baker into this fight, and I thought Colin Warwick was struggling under brakes there. I wonder if his tyres are getting away from him right now.
Yeah, and it seemed like he struggled under throttle as he was coming out of the last corner. He got a little bit squirrely, and the back end kicked out. He's not falling away from Luke Rosella at an incredible rate of knots. And he will have maybe an opportunity if he can cling onto the back of him through the long start-finish straight down to turn 2.
Oh, he was nowhere on the traction there. You can see how much time he's lost out of the final corner to Luke Rosella.
0.8 of a second now the gap, so he's definitely not going to be close enough to have a go. We've got Jake Maloney having a dive down the inside. That was incredibly late from Jake Maloney, but he's managed to pull it off.
The Max Verstappen comparison may well be an apt one.
It might be. Zach Baker's not giving it up though. He's going down the inside at turn 3. Looked like a little bit of door rubbing between the two of them, but Zach Baker did have the right to that corner. He managed to get up the inside fairly. Jake Maloney maybe not too happy about it. He's right on the...
Oh! See ya!
Later.
Oh, no. That has ended Jake Maloney's race.
And he's immediately got the sheds, and
He's in the sheds.
he is in the sheds.
That's a shame. I was enjoying that.
I was enjoying that too, and just all by himself,
Yeah.
straight.
He actually kept it out of the wall and then released the brake right as he got towards it, and that was that for Jake Maloney. So disappointing.
Would have been on for some good points still.
Well, he would have even if he'd just recovered it, but
Yeah.
wasn't willing to. It annoys me when drivers do that.
So many sheds. Blair Warren has now unretracted his comment. Oops, slipped. Ethan 59 is patiently waiting for Dane 57 to do his new sponsored livery. Stay tuned.
Ooh, well,
So,
good to know there's one in the works then.
One in the offing.
Maybe they'll have that ready by Bathurst.
So Zach Baker now right on the back of Colin Warwick, having put Jake Maloney well and truly in the wall. It wasn't actually Zach Baker's fault. I hasten to add. Right around here, last lap was indeed where it happened. So Zach Baker, he's only got a lap and a bit as they're on lap 18 of 19.
Whoa! Sean Allen has just gone. Well, Thomas McMillan had a bit of a look at him for the final spot on the podium. Sorry to cut across you there, Madbird, but I was just keeping one eye on that battle. It's really closed up in the last few laps, so we've got a lot of things to look at as we start the final lap of the race, Madbird.
Yeah, Thomas McMillan getting very oversteery coming out of the last corner, so that might put paid to any of his attempts into turn 2 behind them. Colin Warwick goes uber defensive immediately coming out of the last corner. Does not want to give Zach Baker any slipstream whatsoever. Zach Baker says, hey, I'd quite like a bit of that, and slides over behind him. Colin Warwick covers off the inside as they come down towards turn 2, and Zach Baker goes very deep. Very deep indeed, and Brody Steen's actually going to take... Whoa!
What the...
Colin Warwick had spun out, apparently, and Brody Steen swoops through 2 positions in 1 corner.
Okay.
Yes, please.
That's interesting.
Nom, 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 he says.
Let's just see what happened there. Because we didn't quite see what became of Colin Warwick because we were looking at David Nenadich. I think there might have been a bit of contact there.
Maybe.
And
he
so...
did well to pull it up,
Colin
actually.
Warwick might be a bit annoyed about that.
Brody Steen just, I'll take that, thank you.
Now, this is Dane Warren.
Oh, who's he?
He's winning the race.
Oh, I've never heard of him before in my life. As he crosses the line, he is about 3.6 seconds ahead of
Colin Warwick's just done a big shortcut to get ahead of Brody Steen, and then I think he might have just outbraked himself there.
They're very good.
Yes, I thought...
That would have been a bit cheeky.
I thought that was a bit of a cheeky... Well, you know, I'm getting mine back because I was unceremoniously punted out of that position. We didn't see them cross the line because that was happening, but Sean Allen rounded out the podium after Ethan Warren finished second. Thomas McMillan ended up fourth, about 6 tenths behind Sean, and then Luke Rosella came home for what in the end was a rather quiet 5th place, with Brody Steen jumping those 2 spots. He'll be quite happy with that last lap effort. Colin Warwick, Zach Baker, RSM Latino, good points for him, and David Nenadich rounds out the top 10.
Absolutely. We did have Jake Maloney, unfortunately, DNF, along with Griffin Gardner and Lachlan Horan. But 18 runners finishing the race, which is some incredible numbers. So very nice to see everybody coming out for Townsville round numero dos. I was going to say numero uno. For race numero uno at round dos.
Oh,
I should.
That was the entree, Madbird, the feature presentation, or to use the restaurant analogy I had started by using the word entree, the main course is on its way.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
If this was a DVD from the early 2000s, then the trailers would have just finished and a little screen would have come up, and there would be that one man that seems to voice everything just saying, and now our feature presentation. And you know, the Disney theme would play or whatever, and
or Universal's da 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 boom boom da 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 da. Definitely taken that way too far, but if you've just joined us,
welcome.
Dane Warren has won race 1 from his brother Ethan Warren. An excellent podium from Thomas McMillan. We noticed that he was consistent in the qualifying session. Sean Allen, what am I talking about? Thomas had a go. My apologies to Sean Allen.
You were talking. You knew what you were talking about because you did say that we were talking about his race pace and his consistency during the qualifying session. It's just that you attributed it to the wrong person.
But we also were talking about Thomas McMillan's consistency because we noticed that he had 2 laps within a very, very fine margin, and I thought, oh, this is good news because sometimes he can be quite erratic. And 4th place is still a good.
It's very good
result for him.
Very good haul of points. Have we got time for a quick little pit stop?
Yeah, let's. Do we? I think we'll have to. Yeah. No, we don't, because we're actually going to go into qualifying. Sorry.
Oh, bugger.
But it's a 10-minute session. Oops, that's not supposed to look like that. My apologies. Because we have to set the. Grid for the top 10. But if you need to make a quick pit stop, then you can.
I might very well empty my bladder, so I'll leave you with the very capable Stairs, and I'll be back in just a few minutes.
So I'm going to stay with you for this qualifying session to decide the top 10 for the shootout. So just watch out behind you there, Madbird, because there are things that could fall off the desk. It's alright, I didn't need that tape measure anyway, but the cars are coming out on the racetrack. Hadn't designed this commentary booth with that in mind, but naturally both Madbird and myself entering into the twilight years of our life, struggling a little bit with the strength of our bladder, and I've got a few exercises that I might recommend Madbird use in order to have greater control over his continency, I suppose. Is that the word? Control over your bladder? If incontinence is a lack of control over your bladder, then surely continence is the opposite of that. But I digress. We are starting this session looking at Thomas McMillan, who is going to be one of the first to set a lap in this qualifying session, and we're really not focusing at this stage on what is pole position because it's really irrelevant until we get into the shootout. But once we have a few laps there, we'll know what that cut-off benchmark is, and 10th place will be the cut-off, with it being a top 10 shootout. Matt Dunlop in the chat says, if you're wondering why I'm reading into the stats so much, it's because I have uni work I should be doing. I know oh so well the pitfalls of procrastinating when you should be doing something else. It of course means that in my case I say yes to a lot of things that I really ought to say maybe to, and then I end up overcommitting to a lot of things. But I digress. So what are we seeing from Thomas McMillan? So far, a 21.1 in the first sector, then he did a 16.5 in the middle sector, and he's just coming up to the last corner now, and very, very deep, must be said. We've seen quite a few drivers do that sort of late apex square off the corner sort of thing. I think he's probably focusing more on this next lap because indeed he did get a track cut in the final sector. So Colin Warwick goes to the top with a 1:10.9. Rapp in second, about 1.8 seconds behind him. And thus far, those two are the only two to set a lap time, which is quite surprising to me as we're already 4 minutes into the session. We've got almost everyone on the racetrack apart from Brody Steen, Lachlan Horan and Rhodey. So it is quite a busy racetrack at the moment, but there are still quite a few gaps that you can find yourself into. I'm looking at the live timing, rsmclanau.liveraces.com for all the live timing, and I'm seeing some big gaps down the main straight at the moment where Lachlan Burke is just coming down to turn 2 at the moment. We're following Thomas McMillan for this second flying lap, and let's see if he's managed to improve through the first part of the lap on what he did on the first occasion. Zach Baker goes to the top. Dane Warren immediately eclipses him with a 109.9, so that's the sort of pace that we're used to seeing from Dane Warren as my co-commentator returns to the seat occupied next to me. Thomas McMillan got a track cut on his first lap there, Madbird.
Oh no. Yes, I'm back. I did trip over your outdoor setting, but regardless, I am back.
I did that last week. I think you were watching. I remember you saying it was quite a dramatic trip to the bathroom. You didn't walk into the screen door like I did, sort of
I didn't do that.
Kool-Aid Man style.
Oh my goodness. The joys of pissing outside. So Thomas McMillan currently second fastest. That's impressive.
Yes. So that's what he's done on that lap. Dane Warren, of course, at the top. Sean Allen second on quite a good lap. 110.3 might be close to the fastest lap we've seen from Thomas McMillan.
Ethan Warren's just hopped up to under a tenth behind Dane Warren. Did we see this comment from Matt Dunlop just saying RSM Latino is now officially out of the points race? If you're wondering why I'm reading this into the stats so much, it's because I have uni work I should be doing.
I did read that out and related heavily with procrastination being one of the things that I struggle with on an almost daily basis.
Oh, good
and
stuff.
So we're starting now to... Well, speaking of RSM Latino, he's the man on the cutoff right now. He's 10th at the moment. So as it stands, he would make it into the shootout. Even though... Well, now he wouldn't, because Alex...
mind.
Well, was it Alex Cattle?
Someone
jumped in.
And he has been jumped down to 11th place. So on the... If you watch Formula 1 and you see the little driver at risk logo thing graphic come up, then at the moment, that would be over Alex Cattle in 10th place. And it would show, a gap to him from whoever we happen to be watching at the time.
Latino's improving, though. We're looking at him now.
He is. He's going to need to improve about a second.
Yeah. I don't think he's doing that much.
That's quite a tall order.
It is a tall order. So he's about a quarter of a second up. It's not bad. On our other screen, Steve Warwick coming to the line doesn't improve. He sits in 12th place. So I'm very impressed by Hans Brunswick at the moment. He's in the top 10 in 9th place.
No Jake Maloney.
No.
Deciding not to qualify yet again, or maybe once he got the sheds,
he's not in the server.
Yeah, he decided that he was done for the night, perhaps, which is a shame.
But he tends to pop up right at the end of the session, doesn't he?
Yeah, maybe he's off having a donut.
Yeah. G'day to Lewis Wedding, if you're still watching. RSM Latino needs to find a little bit more. He found 4/10. That's quite good.
That is actually, yeah, so he's probably got a little bit more pace in that thing. Alex Cattle is still the man on the cutoff. Brody Steen in 11th.
Has jumped in. So we've got Dane and Ethan Warren, Thomas McMillan, Sean Allen, Griffin Gardner's up there, Luke Rosella, Zach Baker, Colin Warwick, Hans Brunswick, and Alex Cattle. Brody Steen has recently been dropped down.
Lachlan Burke Racing just saying setup felt crap last race, probably because it's the default one. He's currently down in 15th place, so maybe with a few setup tweaks, we'll see him rising higher up the qualifying standings.
Fiddle with those knobs, my man.
My goodness. Brody Steen, I would expect to be a little bit higher up than he is.
Would you?
My commentator just made himself laugh, I believe.
He's up by 4/10, so that would be enough to get him just into the top 10 if he can carry on this pace.
He does have, I believe is that Hans Brunswick?
Dane Liccardo?
Dane Liccardo. They all look sort of similar, those three.
It is Dane.
Those three. It is Dane Liccardo.
Yep. Hans Brunswick has got the sort of orange...
Optimum protein or whatever it is.
Might get a bit of a slipstream here, Madbird.
Might do. He's put the lights on, has Dane Liccardo to show that he's on a hot lap, and Brody Steen does not improve enough, so I wonder...
No, it's not good.
I wonder if the traffic had something to do with that. It's a little bit distracting following a car.
Maybe he backed out of it.
Very possibly. So, Hans
Let's see if Rody can get into the top 10.
Someone's improved and has bumped Alex Cattle out of the top 10.
David Nenadic to the line. Now he is out of position. He's improved from 19th to 14th, but I would definitely expect to see him in the 10.
So Hans Brunswick currently on the cusp, sitting in place as we had Rody flipping over at, I believe that is turn 6.
I think you're right.
So that's turns 3, 4, and 5 here.
We saw people get on the curb last.
This is turn 5.
Oh, he's gone in way too deep there, and that's not even what caused it. Then he hit way too much curb. He was completely offline, and that was a spectacular rollover. My kudos.
To quote Matty Dunlop, we are in rollover territory, and Rody is the population Rody.
See you in the rollover RT. See you in the RT. There it is, says Matt Dunlop.
There he is. So Hans still the last man in the top 10.
And he's not going to improve because he is in the pits.
Alex Cattle has is on the track.
No good.
Hasn't improved, but he does have the time
One more.
to do another hot lap.
Yep, David Nenadic, well, he's doing it bit by bit. He just got across the line. David Nenadic was the last man across the line before the timer hit 0.
Alrighty, so who have we got on track? We've got 12th, 16th, 11th, and 13th on track.
Brody Steen's hopping over the curbs, and he was well down.
That's not going to be an improved lap. Oh!
Overdriving it, I think.
Heavy impact, as I believe that was Kurt Stenberg slipping through in 5th place. Yep. So Alex Cattle, probably the one most likely to improve into the top 10. David Nedlich is off at turn 6. It's getting everyone during this qualifying session.
Alex Cattle is up by 0.2 of a second. He could knock Hans Brunswick out of the top 10 here. This is the last man who can improve and jump into the top 10, because the only other car on track is Kurt Stenberg, who's safely in the 10 in 5th place. Alex Cattle, well, he's pretty clean through the final corner, but has he been too cautious? He was up by the margin that he needed, and Alex Cattle does! Oh, there was a bit of a delay. I thought he hadn't done it. He knocks Hans Brunswick. No, he doesn't. He knocks Brody Steen out of the top 10.
Hans Brunswick must have improved further.
He was in the pits, though.
He was in the pits.
Someone must have dropped out. Yes.
Someone is left out of the top 10.
I think someone did drop out. And it was exactly as Alex Cattle came across the line. That's why we thought he'd improved. He didn't improve enough, and someone dropped out of the 10.
Who the heck was it?
What?
What? LR in the chat saying, Brap, we need a couple of seconds knocked off that lap time champion. Unfortunately, Brap won't have the opportunity to accept your demands. He is in the pits and out of the top 10, so he will not be taking place in the shootout. However, the top 10, as it stands, unless that whoever it was is able to return to the server, the top 10 is Dane Warren, Ethan Warren, Sean Allen, Kurt Stenberg, Griffin Gardner, Luke Rosella, Zach Baker, Colin Warwick, Hans Brunswick, and Alex Cattle are the top 10.
How very strange, Madbird.
So I reckon you're right. I don't think Alex had enough to take that 10th spot, but as we were watching him, whoever it was that dropped out of the top 10 dropped out, and that is why it suddenly updated to 10th, and it appeared that there was a delay on it.
Well, Hans Brunswick is taking his position at the end of the pit lane to start this
so that would
session.
imply that Alex Cattle did not get 10th. Thomas McMillan, his car... Never mind. It was Thomas McMillan that
Yeah,
dropped
it is
out.
Thomas McMillan. He was in 3rd place.
He has rejoined the server. So
yes, but does that mean we're having a top 11 shootout? Because Hans Brunswick...
No, he was in 10th, Hans.
You're right. Yes,
Alex
sorry.
Cattle was 11th.
That's
so
why I
it
was
looks
confused.
as if Alex Cattle has not...
Alex Cattle actually finished 11th, but just as he crossed the line, Thomas McMillan dropped out of the server, which made us think he got into the top 10.
And Matt Dunlop just in the chat saying it was Thomas McMillan, it's just because his car's camo and you can't see it.
Very good. I'm so happy we cleared that up, because that was quite confusing.
It was very confusing.
Would have got, you know, that situation can happen in real life if, say, you get into the top 10, you get a top 10 from a qualifying, and then someone crashes in the session, but they got in the top 10. Do you promote the person who finished 11th into the top 10, or do you just have a top 9 shootout?
It's a very good point. Has that happened in Formula 1? In like, someone's crashed in Q3, well, not in the shootout obviously, but has someone crashed in Q2 and then they've had to start? They just default to last in Q3, or do they upgrade?
Yeah, that happened. That has happened quite frequently.
Go Hans says. I don't know why my voice broke there.
Go Hans. Goes Roadie's Racing.
Hans. Says Roadie Racing, and it's Dano 35.
On your Dano 35. You're better than the other 34.
I do remember playing Resistance and Liberation with a friend of mine, and it's quite a bad source mod for a World War II game, and myself and a friend were running around as German soldiers saying "Oh Hans" over the live chat and annoying everybody in the server.
I've just noticed that Hans has God's Nectar on his roof. If we get another shot of the top, it's a bit difficult to see from the angle we're looking at now, but there it is there, West End. Red tins for Hans Brunswick.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
I'm sure Thomas McMillan would have something to say that with the pride of Victoria on his roof.
Yeah, but West End is the superior alcohol.
The best end of the day.
Out of VB and West End, it's really not saying much.
That'll keep the Vicks away from our beer.
Yes. Oh dear. 37.8.
It's a clean lap.
It is a clean lap. He got a little bit up on the curbs coming through the second sector, but it didn't seem to hurt him too much.
On you, Matty.
Best End, says Matty. Good on him.
If you want a good night, just look up old West End ads on YouTube. But don't do that until you finish watching this live stream, because this shootout's going to be an absolute cracker, and the strategy battles we're going to see in this race are to die for. Hans Brunswick coming to the line. It's been a decent lap, maybe a little bit deep through that final corner, and a 1:11.3 is the first benchmark for this session.
Nick Collinson just saying Brap's going to have the Bunnings trade power pass power play this race. Can't wait to see that if that particular prediction comes true.
I love sponsorships.
It's like when you're listening to footy on the radio or something. It's like, oh yeah, and Port lead by 36 points on the Triple M Total Tools Real Tools Not Toys scoreboard.
My dad predicted this would be what football would be back in the... I was about 10 years old, so he wrote a story where the football had been renamed the Balfours Pies, and the commentators had to refer to it as the Balfours Pies. And it was a very close game. Mainland cheese. The Boral Steamrollers will take on the Jats Biscuits next week. Interesting to see who pick up the biscuits in that encounter.
They're kicking it right up the Villiers sausage roll.
Yeah, the Australia Post's. We're neglecting to mention that Colin Warwick is on a pretty good lap here. He's found time through that first sector.
That was he turned in far too early for turn 6 there, but he sort of adjusted in a fashion that didn't lose him too much time. He is up
8 thousandths, wow.
Barely through the second sector.
Yeah, so slower through the second sector than Hans Brunswick, apparently.
It's Dano35 saying, you guys missed the battle for 10th at the end of the last race.
Yeah, we missed lots of things. There's a lot happening in a race with 21 cars, and unfortunately we can't catch everything. Apologies, but we try and focus on the highest battle that we can at the time.
Absolutely. And didn't one of the Geelong players change his name to Whiskers?
That did happen. Colin Warwick goes to the top, 4 tenths ahead of Hans Brunswick, so he found a bit of time in that final sector, evidently.
Did someone actually change their surname to Whiskers?
It was a like publicity stunt.
So it was like a meme. He changed it back afterwards.
He did actually change it through deed poll, though, as far as I'm aware.
Of course, and because the Cats, I understand.
Yeah.
I meant to say to you the other day, Stairs, as we see Zach Baker starting his hot lap, I got cut off by a ute with a Geelong Cats sticker on it. So at your next, South Australian Geelong supporters meeting or whatever, if you see someone in a ratty old Toyota ute with a Geelong sticker on it, can you please slap him across the back of their head for me?
Yeah, he does that. I'm sorry about him.
He does that.
Zach Baker very close through the first sector to the first sector time set by Colin Warwick. It is 700ths of a second.
I'm just thinking about what the alternatives would be for other AFL teams, like if a player for Port Power changed their name to Origin, or another power company, SA Power Networks.
Zach Baker's found time through that middle sector. Not much. 15 thousandths is all that separates Colin Warwick and Zach Baker, and I'm sure Colin Warwick will be wanting to get one over Zach Baker after they came to blows at the end of the first race. Zach Baker struggling for reattraction on the exit there of turns 11 and 12. Final corner for Zach Baker to the line. Can he dislodge Colin Warwick from the top spot?
Doesn't look like it.
He cannot, but he slots in ahead of Hans Brunswick.
Matt Dunlop was watching some 1998 V8 racing earlier, and the onboard speed/gear readouts was called the triple emmetry.
Of course it was.
That's actually.
Well, they do that, the triple MCG and all that sort of stuff.
That's enjoyable. I like that. It's much better than the Triple M Total Tools scoreboard.
PlayStation Race Score, they used to call the leaderboard in the early 2000s. Now we're watching Luke Rosella embarking upon his lap.
Do you want to hear a joke, Stairs?
I always want to hear a joke.
The joke is AWS Insights.
Oh, God.
That's all.
I wish they would dispense with that rubbish
I
on
feel
the
bad
Formula
for the
1
commentators having to, you know, try to mention it and make it relevant when...
Ooh.
Ooh,
Yeah, half a tenth up through the first sector, Luke Rosella.
That looked a little bit bumpy coming through turn 3.
Griffin Gardner's at the end of the pit lane, hasn't been told he can go. He's just waiting there.
He's obedient.
Actually, no, he is the one after the next car, which is...
Oh, so he's well and truly prepared. Good on him.
Oh no, I'm not wrong. I'm looking at the car having its in-lap, which is Zach Baker on the live timing. So yeah, Griffin Gardner should be going, but he's obviously has missed the memo. It has been a while since he's raced with us, and I don't know if he's done a shootout with the Automobilista Supercars Championship before. So we're going to be waiting and watching a little bit of his outlap after Luke Rosella completes this lap, which through the first sector was looking pretty good, and through the second sector was looking pretty good, and through the last sector is looking pretty good, and he finds a tenth of a second there as Griffin Gardner comes out of the pits behind him to start his outlap.
Yeah, so he had the right idea, he just did it a lap too late, did Griffin Gardner, so we've got a little bit of time to kill here. Matt Dunlop saying,
we've been shooting the breeze the whole time.
These broadcasts need the Zinger replay, SFX. I imagine is that a Supercars thing?
I do enjoy
KFC
Zinger burgers.
I've never had, no, I lie, I haven't had one, but not for a very long time. Perhaps I'll do that on the way home, I'm still quite hungry. Although...
KFC's open.
Good luck finding a KFC that's open that late. I know, it's ridiculous. It's
yeah.
McDonald's and Hungry Jack's have cottoned onto the 24-hour thing. KFC's lagging behind a little bit.
So we're watching Griffin Gardner on his outlap here.
Oh. I can't tell if he touched the wall there or not, but it looked bloody close. Who's next after Griffin Gardner? Kurt Stenberg. That's low down for Kurt. 5th place.
Low. There was something I wanted to say.
Low.
But I've forgotten what it was.
Dur.
I thought Whiskers was a little bit of a...
I can't believe that. Oh my goodness.
Why wasn't it Fancy Feast? I think it was in the 90s or something.
Yeah,
before my time. It was a hard time to be
for any
fan.
cat owners that are listening, please don't feed your cat Whiskers. It's basically the junk food of cat foods. And their health will not thank you for it.
So Griffin Gardner to the first sector split. Let's see what he can do. Very close. Once again, 0.03 of a second is all that separates him. Apparently you can go over that yellow line.
They come falling off that curb at turn 3, and every single time I expect it to end very badly.
Oh, that's a little bit wide.
He's held onto it.
I don't know. This is the braking zone that's very difficult to get stopped once you're out of shape.
He's well and truly behind now.
Yeah, well, it all looks spectacular, but the time doesn't lie, and he's lost a 1/10.5 to Luke Rosella through that middle sector, and it's not going to be very easy to find that again.
No, there's not too much time to be gained in this last sector by the looks of it.
He's still pushing.
He is still pushing, so I mean, well, you might as well, even with a he'd still slide into 3rd at the moment if he continues on the pace that he had, and indeed he does not.
A fair bit through that.
Yeah, he must have lifted. Maybe he had the thing of like you're coming up to a stoplight and it changes to orange, and you're like, oh, and you like sort of lift off, but then you go, oh no, like it's too late, and you jam on the throttle, and then you see the red light camera flash, and you just.
Oh, I see what you're saying, but I fail to see how that would really be a beneficial thing for him to do in this qualifying session.
I mean, you know, maybe he thought, oh, well, that's it, I might as well not worry about it, and then he thought, oh no, I better keep going, and then, but then it didn't matter anymore. Gary Hocking.
It was the most entertaining qualifying lap in this shootout.
It was. Everyone's being remarkably clean, and there's Sean Allen doing the exact same thing. Oh, there he goes.
He's going.
He just got the memo. Gary Hocking was the player, says Matt Dunlop. So Gary Whiskers. Oh my goodness.
No, I think it was just Whiskers.
It's like literally just his name was Whiskers, like Cher.
That's what this is vague recollection.
That is some 80s. That is some 80s hair.
You're not seeing this, ladies and gentlemen, but we've just looked up Gary Hocking on.
There it is. He was
Wikipedia.
known as Whiskers. It was at the top. the last sentence of the paragraph.
My apologies to Kurt Stenberg. We're having this exciting shootout and we're talking about a footballer from the 1990s.
It's not that exciting. He's being quite clean.
But we like clean because clean is fast.
Slow is clean, clean is fast. No, slow is smooth, smooth is clean, clean is fast.
Oh, that thought? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
7/10 of a
Holy
second
heck,
worth.
that is
That is a great lap from Kurt Stenberg. What did you
Separate the
say?
men from the boys.
A little bit far back. All he was doing was netting himself a safe lap in that qualifying session to get himself in the shootout, and then he showed us what he was made of.
Absolutely. Sean Allen, meanwhile, has got yet to show us what he's made of. He got his podium position in the first race. He'd be quite happy with, starting from 5th place. I hope he can improve on that starting position in this shootout. Starting his lap any second now.
It was exactly that second.
It was exactly that second.
She's still looking at Gary Hocking.
For a brief period in 1999, he was known as Whiskers.
Yeah, well, we weren't really troubling the top of the ladder in those days. It was a difficult time. We made a few grand finals and spectacularly lost them.
I don't know anything about that.
We certainly turned the tables once we got our finger out. Sean Allen's a little bit far behind to be challenging right now. He's got to find a 10th and a bit.
He's very clean there through turn 6, which people have been struggling with, but he's not fast. 2.5 tenths down going through the second sector split. Oh
my goodness.
Touches the wall on the run down to turn 11.
Do you know, Whiskers had a brief stint as one of the coaches for Port Adelaide in 2012. He didn't have a particularly good record.
Did he actually?
Yes, his win-loss record was 0-3.
Oh dear.
As Sean Allen comes to the line and finishes second, 2.5 tenths behind Kurt Stenberg. It's quite a big gap between Kurt Stenberg and Luke Rosella, and Sean Allen did manage to find his way into it.
Yep.
Now, the next driver on track, I believe, is supposed to be Thomas McMillan, and I believe he's on track. We haven't picked him up yet. Just a second.
Find him. There he is. He's just starting his lap now. Perfect timing. Yeah, 2012 was not a great year for Port Adelaide, but
better than 2011.
That's sort of the dark period. But even through that time, we never got a wooden spoon. So
there you go.
Adelaide Crows are going to be the first South Australian team to do so. Adelaide teams and Owen. A more iconic duo.
Oh, they're one now. As Thomas McMillan sets the fastest first sector time by 1/10 of a second. You're still pondering the Owen joke.
Yes, I must admit it has gone past me.
Thomas has lost a fair bit in the middle sector. Well, he was up by 2/10 almost.
So he's almost 100%. I don't know where I'm going.
I didn't see where he lost all that time.
I think he scraped the wall a little bit coming out of turn 9, but I wouldn't have thought that would be enough to lose you 2/10.
Final corner for Thomas McMillan. Can he find any of that time back? He's going to be close with Sean Allen based on what we saw in the middle sector, and in the end he loses more time. Down to 3rd place. Wonder if he was carrying a bit of damage from the rub with the wall.
Ethan Warren coming through the last few corners now.
Business end of this qualifying session now.
Yes, indeed. So this is what I've been looking forward to, is see if Ethan Warren's able to pull out a lap to beat his brother once again, like he did during the first qualifying session.
To the line for Ethan Warren, and we saw him grab pole in the first qualifying session, and he only needed one go at it then. He only gets one go at it right up against the wall.
That was tantalisingly close.
Oh, and he's doing it again.
My goodness, that gave me a crisis. He's a 10th up.
10th up.
The first sector.
It was a really good first sector from Kurt Stenberg.
It was incredibly strong first sector. Look at the camber on those front wheels. My goodness.
Look at the Canberra in ACT.
Oh, that that looked like a cut almost. Not sure how strict it is around here. 1.5 tenths up now through the second sector.
He's building, and right up against the wall again. in the final sector.
Leaving no part of the track unused.
This is really, really good to watch this from Ethan Warren. Clinical driving from the young man as he gets into the final corner and hooks it up just nicely. Can he get on the power smoothly? He does indeed. Absolutely straight lines it to the line. This is going to be a 109.7. Very, very similar lap time to what he managed in the qualifying session for race 1. And the only question yet to be answered is, can Dane Warren beat that time?
Yeah, he did beat it last time, last round with his qualifying record of a 109.6. Which is about a tenth of a second faster than what Ethan has managed this time around. But can he do it in a single lap? This is the only lap he gets, obviously. That's what a shootout is. And it all remains to be seen. So he is shooting on down through the kink of turn 1 into the hard braking zone of turn 2. Good turn in there, right out to the wall. Oh, he actually tags the wall just a little bit, which his brother avoided doing. And
he's up
into turn 3. He is.
Oh,
that was bumpy. That's why I'm scared whenever I see one of those cars go through that dip. As he comes through turns 5 and 6.
He tried to give the wall a bit of a berth there, though. You know, Ethan was right up against it. Dane gave it a little bit of space, and he has lost a lot of time. I don't think he'll be able to recover that.
Incredible middle sector from Ethan Warren, but also a little bit messy maybe from Dane. Gets right out to the wall.
We saw Dane hit the wall in Darwin, and maybe he's a little bit unsure of where it is now, so he's giving it a little bit wider berth.
He's a little bit wall shy.
Wall shy. Is he last corner shy? Well, no, because you need to get through the last corner to finish the lap.
Never finish a lap if you're last corner shy. He's coming down towards the line now. Has he improved enough? No, he has not. So second place for Dane Warren. Ethan Warren taking 2 pole positions in a row. Very, very well done.
Great job from Ethan Warren, ending in style his brother's qualifying dominance. And Dane, well, he lost that mostly in the middle sector. A 16.3 for Ethan and a 16.5 for Dane. Leaves Ethan Warren in pole position. Great job from Kurt Stenberg, finishing in 3rd in that qualifying session. Sean Allen will be happy with 4th, I should say, is an improvement on 5th, where he qualified for race 1. Thomas McMillan's probably a little bit further back than he would like to be. Luke Rosella 6th, Colin Warwick 7th, Zach Baker in 8th, and Hans Brunswick and the Griffin Gardner round out the top 10 in this shootout.
Absolutely. Cracking last few laps there from our top few. And some very clean laps from pretty much everyone except for Griffin Gardner, I'm sorry to say, to draw attention to it. But very, very good there for our shootout.
Griffin's was an entertaining lap, though.
It was an entertaining lap, that's very true.
It was.
Very, very true.
All right, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back.
Supercars Championship is now all in one place. Visit asc.rocksolidmates.com for all the official ASC content, including season calendars, results and championship points, broadcast information, rules and regulations, lap records, and more. You can also get updates on our official ASC Facebook page. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell notification icon to get notified whenever we go live for all championship races.
The Automobilista Supercars Championship is proudly brought to you by RSM, Rock Solid Mates, ARW, Apex Rear Wing, CW, Colin Warwick Designs, and Jinx Shifters.
Welcome back, everyone, to Townsville. We're just in the warm-up session at the moment, so got a few minutes for our drivers to get any last-minute practice in. Looking at Thomas McMillan on our screens, my co-commentator has decided at the end of our break that he did need to urinate, so he has buggered off and left me alone with all of you lovely viewers. So it's a absolute delight to be here with you as always, and it's been a couple of rounds for me that Matt Dunlop has filled in. So thank you very much, Matty, for filling my considerably talented shoes, if I do say so myself. Now, we were talking about the grand final and AFL just before, and I was talking to somebody who was saying, the Gabba might have the grand final technically, but if things go wrong, Adelaide Oval is the backup for the grand final host. And good friend of ours, Goof Blandick, said, "Oh, you mean like how the Adelaide Crows are Adelaide's backup team?" Which I was quite pleased with. And I believe with what can only be described as a marathon piss, an absolutely...
Mate, you were gone for longer than that.
Absolutely incredible piss. I said marathon, but what I meant to imply was quick.
Okay.
Is what a marathon
the opposite of a marathon. You mean a 100-metre sprint?
A sprint of a piss. My co-commentator Stairs has returned.
Mate, I'm not here to fornicate with spiders.
Yes. Is that a term?
Well, yes, but usually the word fornicate is replaced with another word that starts with F.
Ah. But why would you do such a thing?
Well, no one is. But you'd say I'm not there to do that.
Oh, I've never heard that term in my life.
That's like a way of saying I'm not here to muck around.
Yeah, I've never heard that in my life. Interesting.
Daniel Ricciardo said it on his team radio a few weeks ago. It's a very Australian saying.
Oh my god! Well, I've learned that now.
Yeah.
So I'll have to start introducing that into conversations I have with non-Australians,
mate.
And then act as if it's something I've known my entire life.
Words can't describe how it is, mate.
Mate, you can't be leaving this.
You can't be leaving this. Don't be a hero, mate.
I'm not a hero, but you.
Look at it. Look at it. Words can't describe how it is, mate.
Oh, God. I'm loving that clip that the woman interviewing him is clearly, like, on the verge of tears with how hard she's trying not to laugh. But the man is just so true blue Aussie battler.
Context maybe required for some people?
Possibly. It was a Sunshine, I believe, Sunshine segment where a very...
Today Show, I think it was.
Today Show.
Yeah.
The most Australian man ever who tried to chase down an arsonist or a ram raider or something. And just the most Australian person you've ever seen in your life. Speaking of Australia, Stairs, where are we?
Australia, in Queensland. Most of us can't get there without having to isolate for 2 weeks. Or no, we have to isolate on the way back. I don't know what all the rules are now. But I do know that there's 39 laps, 111 kilometres, and that is going to be an interesting pit strategy. So you must make one for two tyres. You can't do it without pitting. But we saw one stops in Darwin with a similar length of race. I don't know if they can do it on one stop tonight. Track record is a 109.967, at least it was before race 1, where I believe he did a 109.8 to set the fastest race lap.
That is 100% correct. I do remember that happening. So, we are getting all the guys out onto the grid. As you can see there, 3 cuts allowed for each race. So, I'm not sure where...
Oh, that's wrong. Sorry, that's 5 cuts.
Oh,
I
5 cuts allowed for each race,
that.
as you can't see on your screen. And the pit lane speed limit.
The spit lane P limit
is 40 k's an hour. I love the photo of the 40k area. Is that from around here, Stairs?
No, it's on. I just googled 40 kilometres an
because
hour.
it looks very much like the ones around your house.
That no one follows.
Yeah, no. It's incredible.
There was a dirt bike rider who got lost earlier today. I could hear him riding up and down the road, and I said he should have a map. Why doesn't he have a map? He's clearly lost.
So here is the grid, Stairs. You going to take us through?
I sure am. Ethan Warren, for the second time tonight, has nabbed pole position from his brother Dane Warren for Coanda Sim Sports. So he's in very much deserving of a livery. As we talked about earlier in the broadcast, it's currently in the process of being made. Kurt Stenberg will start out of 3rd place, and he'll be hoping to get away from all the shenanigans. Got caught up very early on in race 1, and, well, this one might be a bit more of a slow burn. Sean Allen's got caught up with shenanigans a fair bit as well around this racetrack of late. Thomas McMillan has normally been lightning off the starts here, so look out for him as well. Luke Rosella will start out of 6th place, ahead of Colin Warwick. Behind Colin Warwick, we've got Zach Baker, who had a good battle with Colin in the first race. Hans Brunswick in the top 10. Great result from him. Let's see if he can get off the line without jumping the start. Griffin Gardner in the top 10. And then behind him, it's Alex Cattle, who just missed out on getting into the shootout. Behind him is Brody Steen, who's a little bit further back than I think we're used to seeing him, if we're honest. David Nenadic will start behind him in 13th. And then we've got RSM Latino of Super 2. Steve Warwick in 15th, also of Super 2. And then we've got Brapp in 16th. Dane Liccardo in 17th behind him. And Lachlan Burke rounds out our grid of 18. We've lost Jake Maloney and Rhodey. And my apologies, there was another car that I have neglected to remember that is also not with us for this race.
Still 18 cars of decent grid.
Tis a very good grid.
Tis, replied
And Helga.
Oh my goodness. Yes. They're lining up on the grid stairs.
They most certainly are.
Oh, that threw me.
That has. Well, I have not been thrown. And I'm about to call the start of race 2. And I'm very much looking forward to it, Madbird.
I'm looking forward to it too, Stairs. It's 20 laps longer than the first one.
You know it. It's not a sprint. This is going to maybe have a bit of attrition, definitely have a bit of strategy.
I think someone's struggling to get into their grid box. There we go.
We're all good now. We're about to get racing here at Townsville. Off they go. Good start there from Ethan Warren. He looks like he's got the whole shot there, and we've got someone in the wall already.
Oh.
It's one of the Warwicks. I think it's Steve Warwick as we cut to the front, and look at that. Dane Warren's got swallowed up. Where is he? He's down there in 5th.
He's behind Sean Allen and Thomas McMillan in 5th place. It was Steve Warwick who was in the wall, is only just now starting his lap. So Ethan Warren with an incredible start, as to with everyone basically in the top 5, except for Dane Warren.
Down in 5th.
Down in 5th, and looking at a whole lot of Sean Allen arse just ahead of him, the Race on Oz driver. So Dane Warren obviously quite keen to get ahead of the Race on Oz guy. Drives down the inside at turn 5. That's a little bit ambitious. And Sean Allen holds onto his inside line and fairly defends his position, as he's going to have the inside down into turn 11. It looks like Colin Warwick also trying to have a look at the inside. Gives him a little bit of a bump, and Sean Allen nearly goes around but hangs onto it. And they've been side by side for most of the laps so far, but looks like Dane Warren has finally managed to close the door.
Colin Warwick going down the inside of Sean Allen as well, and they're going to drag their way down the start-finish straight. It looks like at the moment it's Colin Warwick a nose ahead, but Sean Allen is a demon under brakes, and he has the inside line. Colin Warwick gives him the space through turn 1, and Sean Allen is not able to effect the overtake there. Colin Warwick, if he gets the traction, should be able to get to the first corner before him.
Third corner even.
Yes, the first corner after the one we were looking at, of course, is what I meant.
Obviously.
Just catch a replay of the start. This is Dane Warren going absolutely nowhere off the start and just getting completely swamped. There's the driver. And then look at that.
Goodness.
Sean Allen and Kurt Stenberg getting their way past. And of course, by that stage, he'd already lost out. And Sean Allen braked quite early, trying not to get involved in too many shenanigans on the opening lap. And Thomas McMillan was able to drive around the outside. So that is how we ended up with Dane Warren down in 5th place, recovering up until 4th place. That is Colin Warwick on your screen right now. Here is Dane Warren trying to bridge the gap between himself and Thomas McMillan.
You can see him just ahead of him there, and Kurt Stenberg now about 0.8 of a second behind Ethan Warren. So this is all giving Ethan Warren quite a decent buffer back to his brother.
This is what Kurt Stenberg is looking at.
Yeah, so he's sort of staying in touching distance. I'm sure Kurt Stenberg would dearly love to chalk up another win this season. He's only got the one in his championship defence after last season. So he would very much like to find his way past Ethan Warren, but it doesn't appear that he has the pace at the moment. He's just dropped over a second behind Ethan Warren ahead. So it's but he's looking good to be able to hang in that position. And Dane Warren is going to have to make his way past Thomas McMillan, which isn't an easy feat, let's say.
You've still got a fair bit of time
Looks
to
like
go.
yeah, that looks like he's had an error or something, because he was closer to Thomas McMillan, I swear, was Dane Warren. Might have had a bit of a shaky lap, perhaps.
Thomas has been fast. He's got the fastest first sector on this lap of the race. So he took 2 or 3 tenths of a second out of Dane Warren on the lap that they're just finishing now. And so Dane Warren has certainly got his hands full if he wants to win this race. I wonder if they've gone for different tyres. We definitely saw this happen in Darwin, where Dane went backwards off the start, starting on the hard tyres. Maybe that's what's happened here.
Speaking of going backwards off the start, Sean Allen's down into 7th place. And it looks like he's a little bit... He is now the cork in the bottle. He's got 3 or 4 cars behind him. Just looking at the live timing, he's about to actually overtake one of the ZB guys. As
Lap times.
Got very out of shape coming through turn 3.
12.6 from Sean Allen. This could be the tyre strategy playing out early with these guys trying to get their hard tyre out of the way. If that's the pace Dane Warren's got on hard tyres, then he is going to be very, very difficult to beat. If Ethan's blazed away on softs, it would definitely explain Dane's horrible start.
Do they have to use hards?
No, they don't have to, but it's all dependent on whether they can eke out softs for the entire race. We get all sorts of shenanigans going in there. We've got both of the Race on Oz guys in there involved, in Hans Brunswick on the outside of Sean Allen there. A bit of a crisscross manoeuvre. The ZB guys getting away at the moment.
Yeah, they are. I was about to say, this is the main 2 teams that are sort of competing over the teams championship.
I definitely think Sean Allen's got the hard tyres on here.
Yeah, you don't see him falling back like this usually. So the hard tyres do last a fair bit longer than the soft tyres.
But will they get you far enough into the race to make it worthwhile? Because, oh, there's their contact there, or did Hans Brunswick do that to himself? That has unfortunately meant that Hans Brunswick has fallen all the way off the back of this battle, just rejoins ahead of RSM Latino there.
Luckily had enough buffer to maintain his position. Let's see. So Sean Allen right behind him coming in. It looked like a bit of contact, but it also...
We'll investigate that one. It's a bit difficult to tell from that angle, isn't it?
It is very difficult to tell indeed, but it has resulted in him staying in 11th, but he has dropped back to almost into the clutches of RSM Latino. So we're just having a look on our replay here. So Sean Allen coming down into...
Yeah, I think he just wasn't expecting...
A little bit of a touch.
Wasn't expecting Hans to break as early as he did there. And then, as a result...
Did not leave a margin for error.
I wonder if he'll cop a points penalty for that one after the race. It was caught on the broadcast. As a result, it might end up being automatically investigated instead of having to be reported to the students by the drivers involved. The stewards was clearly the word I was looking for there.
To all the uni students, such as Matt Dunlop, who are not doing their work.
Well, yes. Quick stock take. We are 6 laps into this race, and Ethan Warren leads the race by 2 seconds, and we reckon he started the race on the soft tyres. Kurt Stenberg is behind him on second. I wonder if he's going to try the same thing we saw him do in Darwin, where he ran softs to the halfway point and then ran softs again to the end. Time will tell. Thomas McMillan is giving him a fair bit to think about right now in 3rd place, and then we've got Dane Warren, who I think is on the hards, because I reckon he would have closed that gap down to Thomas McMillan by now if he was on the softs.
Leo Warren in the chat just saying, looks like I'll have to give Ethan a 50 tonight for smashing his brother, or will I?
Oh.
Keeping us in suspense.
Yeah, never, ever write off Dane Warren.
No. Especially not if he's on the hards at the moment, because he's easily keeping pace with, not keeping pace with the guys ahead of him, but he's not dropping away at anywhere near the rate of knots that the likes of Sean Allen are.
111s he's doing, and if that's on the hard tyres, that's Last week, when we had the race that was affected by the safety car, and Dane Warren had a late stop for softs, and the other guys tried the hards to make sure they didn't need to stop again, because the safety car appeared early in the race. We saw Dane Warren upwards of 4 seconds a lap faster than some of the guys who were running in the podium positions towards the end of that race. It was quite a thing to watch.
So Thomas McMillan and Kurt Stenberg quite close here. As Thomas McMillan almost close enough to try to do a little bit of a switch up on the last corner, but not quite.
Yeah, this is interesting. I
A
reckon.
lot of experience battling these two.
Yeah, and I think Kurt's playing the tyre conservation game again, and maybe Thomas McMillan isn't so much.
Yeah, get the feeling Kurt could probably pull away a little bit more if he wanted to, but he's just looking after his tyres a bit, which is a good idea.
Maybe looking for somewhere to overtake. It's a bit difficult through this middle sector, but turn 2, turn 3 and turn 11 will be opportunities for him. And you could get it at turn 2. You could get it at turn 3. You could get it at turn 11. Matter of, he hasn't got it now. But
No. The best cold beer is me. Old Farmers Union iced coffee ads are also
they are
an excellent watch.
digressed again.
If you've got something, if you've got a hankering for old ads after the broadcast, that's very close. Thomas McMillan, that concertina effect, quite distressing to watch. And he came right up behind, goes very far over to the left-hand side, almost in anticipation of Kurt Stenberg taking that racing line for the slipstream. Just nowhere near close enough to try to have a go.
Yes, this is a visualization of the concertina effect. As you see the car pull away, it's always going to be on the throttle just a little bit earlier than you, especially through a corner, well, through a racetrack like this with many single file corners. The trouble with racing in a lot of places, as we see a bit of a yellow flag, just temporarily.
Gone already.
And it is
Ooh,
back.
it's back again.
Oh, someone's had a major off
There
there.
it
I'm just
is.
trying to
That
see
is
who
one of
that's.
the black
Brap,
cars.
I think.
Brap, so the Brap fans in the chat will be putting their heads in their hands, or very possibly not. We might have thrown them under the bus for no reason. This is quite a close battle.
Brody
between
Steen.
Brody Steen and David Netedich. Sort of the two, I don't want to say the B drivers from their respective teams, but they...
Wow. More yellow flags. What is going on? Oh, it's Brap is still stuck by the side of the...
I don't think it's Brap, because Brap is still circulating by the looks of it.
My apologies to
Might
Brap.
be Lachlan...
It's Lachlan Burke.
Lachlan Burke. He's crawling around to the pits.
He was waiting for the whole field to go by. He was stopped by the side of the road for a very long time. Was Lachlan.
And into the pits he comes.
It's strange. We'll try and see what's become of him. What's become of him?
Meanwhile, this battle is David Netedich putting a lot of pressure on Brody Steen. Brody Steen up 4 places from his start down in 12th, so he'll be happy with that. Of course, one of those places was his teammate Sean Allen, who is dropping back, we reckon, maybe on the hard tyres. Bit of contact there as David Netedich goes into the back of Brody Steen, coming through turn 3, but Brody Steen able to catch it.
Brody Steen and ZB cars name a more iconic duo. They've been joined at the hips the last 2 weeks, and Brody trying to keep David at bay right now. I wonder if they've got a tyre discrepancy going on as well.
It introduces an element of guesswork for us trying to figure out whether someone is on the hard tyres or if they're just slow. David Netedich goes very deep at turn 11.
He's not making that one.
That was a dive and a half, and he gets a big slap of oversteer on the grass for his trouble.
Sean Allen's going to get this position back.
Or is he down the inside?
Not got a lot of grip on those hards, but I don't think David Netedich is dealing with oodles of grip himself. In that drag race down the start-finish straight. Brody Steen's in the pits, and that's a bit earlier than we were expecting. Lap 11.
Lap 11 of 39, so either they're going for a 2-stop or got some absolutely colossal tyre management abilities.
To do, yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a thing that he will be able to do. So David Netedich has managed to hang on to that position. I think he's back up to speed now. Let's catch a replay here of what happened to Lachlan Burke earlier.
Wrong screen.
Oh dear.
I got you, bro. So Griffin Gardner behind him as they come through turn.
Yeah, there wasn't any contact
9.
by himself. I don't know if there was a bit of perceived pressure there, but Lachlan Burke
And then he's just, and then
he spun it, but
and then he's just pulled over.
he might have already had damage.
Decided he needed a pee, perhaps.
It's a bit strange. We'll try and see if there's anything more
They
to
clash.
that. Oh, okay.
But this David Nedich has managed to hold on to that position from Sean Allen.
Now up ahead, there's a bit more of a battle going on.
Zach
Colin
Baker.
Warwick and Zach Baker.
And Luke Rosella. I'm pretty sure these three were neck and neck in a different order.
And they all run similar pace, evidently.
Last race as well. So seems like they're all sort of, their ultimate pace is all sort of quite similar, because they've all managed to find themselves on the same piece of tarmac once again.
Yeah, let's look at the lap times they're running then, shall we? Colin Warwick in the 12, they're all in the 12s. 12.6, 12.5, 12.5, all very, very similar. Luke Rosella, though, has had a bit of a moment somewhere and lost a second and a half.
So he might have very well have been at the head of this battle at one stage. Is no longer.
Well, that's no good.
2.7 seconds now, the gap out in front between Ethan Warren and Kurt Stenberg. And Dane Warren still unable to get that position on Thomas McMillan. So I think it's pretty much confirmed now Dane Warren is on the hards.
Yeah, I definitely conceded that at that point.
Yep. Because he otherwise would have gobbled up Thomas McMillan like a...
Well, he'd at least be on the back of him, wouldn't he?
He'd very much be on the back of him. I was going to make a very bad reference, so I won't do that. Who else is not performing as we would expect? Sean Allen down in 9th place. He would definitely be on the hards, I would believe.
No big moment for Luke Rosella. We just
That's crawling.
someone
By the side
just
of the road. If that was, I think that may have been Lachlan Burke once again.
and he's 2 laps down. He spent a fair bit of time in the pits trying to recover some of his car. Dane Liccardo in the pits.
Lap 12 for him.
So these guys are going side by side. Luke Rosella trying to get these positions back. He didn't have a big mistake, so to speak. He just got passed by these guys on pace. So Colin Warwick once again opting out of that battle early, pitting on lap 13. So they're committing at this stage to a 2-stop, I would say. And if they know they can't make a 1-stop work, then you might as well maximize the 2-stop by going early rather than trying to stretch it out and have a really short stint at one stage.
Get as much time on those fresh tyres as you can.
Dane Liccardo's coming out of the pits right in this battle with Sean Allen behind them. But meanwhile on the screen there, Luke Rosella trying to get around the outside of Zach Baker. This is an absolutely cracking scrap.
Yeah, some very good formation flying, but not between the two Mustangs. I was going to say Mercedes, because you often see the Mercedes flying in formation.
Hans Brunswick is in the pits at the moment. RSM Latino as well.
Yeah, so I'd say we're looking at a 2-stop then for sure, if everyone's
For those
sort of
guys, yeah.
peeling in at this stage.
Well, if this will be mighty interesting if some people commit to a 2 and some people commit to a 1. Definitely, I would say the only reason to run hards... Oh, a bit wide there for Zach Baker. The only reason to run hards is if you think you can make it go on 1 stop.
Luke Rosella comes in, lap 14.
He does.
Zach Baker continues on and promotes himself up into 4th place. So he's pit from the... Thomas McMillan in the pits.
And David Nedich is in the pits as well.
So McMillan in on lap 14.
Kurt Stenberg too. So Kurt Stenberg is in the pits. Thomas McMillan, Luke Rosella, David Nedich. So that is 2-stop territory, I would have thought. I don't think... Well, maybe they can make the hards.
Bless me.
We'll see what sort of pace Kurt Stenberg starts running now. If he's running hards till the end, he's going to take a bit of pain pace-wise. But Dane Warren right now running the hards. If he can get to about 15 laps to go and then switch to the softs, then the race could come alive for him. Absolutely. Meanwhile, Ethan Warren still out front leads. I wonder if we're going to see him come into the pits shortly.
Yeah, 7. Oh, he is in the pits, I believe, because there is his time is dropping. So Ethan Warren in on lap 15.
There we go. So this is playing out for potentially a 1-stop for these guys running softs if they're going to go to hards, or do they go soft to the end from here? This is very interesting indeed. Kurt Stenberg has come out behind that lap traffic?
That's Brap.
It's
no,
Brap, no.
has not pit, so this is actually for position.
It's costing him time.
It's costing him a lot of time, but it looks like Brave is not contesting that too hard down into turns 11 and
Fresh
12.
tyres for Kurt. Even if they are hards, they'll be better than 15-lap-old softs, I would have thought. So we've got Zach Baker and Ethan Warren there. Ethan Warren is on the move. And rejoins back in 5th place, just ahead of Alex Cattle. So of the leading runners, we haven't seen pit stops from Dane Warren or Sean Allen, and that's because they have run the hards early. And I believe they're the only ones to do so, at least of the top runners that we're looking at. And where they should potentially be able to go a bit further. 20 seconds not enough to make a pit stop, though.
No, but that is a lot of time that Sean Allen has lost compared to Dane Warren.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see exactly what you mean. Just trying to look at some of the pit delta times.
So of the sort of guys that we always keep a watching brief on, Brody Steen was the earliest to blink on lap 11. So we're definitely expecting a 2-stop from him, I would expect. Although if he's put on the hards, he's only pitted 4 laps earlier than the Ethan Warrens and the Zach Bakers and the Kurt Stenbergs of this world. So who knows? I'm interested to see how this all plays out, Stairs.
We've got Steve Warwick in the pits with a bit of damage by the looks of it, so he's come a cropper somewhere. Yeah, Kurt Stenberg's pit transit time was around about 41 seconds, so looking at that, Dane Warren would rejoin if he were to pit right now, right behind his brother Ethan, who's 39 seconds behind him.
And slot in between himself and Thomas McMillan.
Alex Cattle's in the pits, and Brap also, as Steve Warwick gets on the move. So if he was repairing damage, he's not repairing too much of it, so maybe that was just his scheduled stop.
Yeah, maybe he just shed some weight. Oop, heard a bang somewhere.
Oh, and that is Liccardo.
That is Dane Liccardo out turn 6, I think.
It's a shame for him.
No, turn 3. Exit of turn... No, it is turn 6, never mind. They look quite similar.
Yeah. Replay. No, he's already facing backwards when we picked up that replay, so it's an easy spot to lose it on the curb by the looks of it. Just got a little bit too much of it, and round she went.
And then he's decided to wait for a few minutes before slamming it into reverse.
Yeah, maybe just checking.
And then, oh my goodness, just as Kurt Stenberg was coming around.
It was heart and mouth stuff.
That was quite close. Kurt Stenberg, I'm sure, appreciated that quick check on his heart rate.
Well, the foreshortening of the shot might have made it look worse than it was.
That's very true.
Colin Warwick is still embroiled in this battle with the ZB car there, Zach
Looks
Baker.
like Luke Rosella hasn't come out very well from the pit stops. He's a fair way back. He's about 9 seconds back on these two. Wonder what happened there. If he maybe had
That's a bit strange.
Might have had an incident somewhere.
Yeah, might have brushed the wall and forgot to switch off the repair damage option in the pit menu.
Worst.
Thomas McMillan isn't that much further up the road from Colin Warwick than I would have been expecting.
No, considering they've both hit. Unless if Thomas McMillan has put on the hard tyres and Colin Warwick's put on a fresh pair of softs.
Well, Colin came in on lap 13.
McMillan the next lap 14.
Let's have a look at his lap time, shall we? I know Thomas McMillan does have the fastest lap of the race, and he did that on the last lap. So I wouldn't say he's on soft. He's on hards then.
No, it's just interesting then that Colin Warwick, unless he's had
It's very perplexing.
It's very possible Thomas McMillan's had an issue somewhere and is recovering.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There is. That's the thing about having these larger fields is there's a lot more to look at, but there's also a lot more to keep track of, isn't there, Stairs?
Yeah, he lost. Yeah, he looks like he lost 2 seconds in the final sector of the previous lap, but would have thought it would have taken a bit more to be that far back.
So Dane Warren
doesn't look like a spin.
Doesn't, no. How interesting. Oh my fucking god. Oh, Jesus.
I pointed it away from you, I'm sorry.
Oh, it doesn't mean I can't smell it. So, Dane Warren is 25 seconds ahead of Sean Allen at the moment. Sean Allen only about 4 seconds ahead
That'll
of
do.
Kurt Stenberg in third. No, it won't.
Dane Licato's in the pits, unsurprisingly. And you can see him in the back of your shot there. Actually, that's not
No,
Dane
he's been in
Licata.
the pits for a while, Dane Licato. I think he jumped in last lap. I think I saw
Thomas
him.
McMillan's in the pits.
So maybe he's got damage. How interesting indeed. So what is it, lap 19? Thompson
19.
Millen again.
That's a bit... when did he make his previous pit stop?
Lap
wasn't it?
14. So,
So 5 laps. He's retired from the race.
oh, never mind. I was about to write down his lap time.
You
but
can write him off.
I'll write him off.
Scrub that one. So I don't know what happened to Thomas McMillan, but unfortunately, he is no longer a factor.
Mac Mittens
Very
has
confusing.
left the building. So maybe he'll hop in the chat and let us know what was up with that home skillet and why he was losing so much time. How he was so quick but so close to Colin Warwick, who
Griffin Gardner and Dane Warren.
Dane Warren in the pits. So we are on lap 20 and Dane Warren has finally cried enough on those tyres.
He hasn't made it far enough to get to the end on softs, I think. He might be doing the hards until the end of the race.
Thomas McMillan in the chat just saying, I was too tired to race. And then there is a second message that has been held for review that roughly translates to I'm buggered. Oh, there you go.
Huh.
So Dane Warren rejoins in 7th, so lost a few more positions than we were expecting.
Strong as urine.
Had damage from the last pit stop after hitting Luke Rosella, so maybe that's why Luke Rosella was so far behind compared to the other two that we were watching, Colin Warwick and Zach Baker on your screen now.
Going back to that battle, it's they've been joined at the hip for the last 15 or so laps.
So it was perhaps a bit of contact while pulling into your pit boxes there, Thomas McMillan, that caused the damage for yourself and Luke Rosella.
There's a battle on for the lead.
There is. Sean Allen still has not pit on those hard tyres, and Kurt Stenberg it's I was going to say it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I think
the
Sean's...
conclusion is now foregone.
He hasn't come in. I thought he was going to come in. He is eking those tyres out. I think he's trying to get to the point where he can pit and finish the race on softs, but is it worth it when he's bleeding so much time?
And he's already lost. Yeah, he's lost a pit stop's worth of gap to Kurt Stenberg, who's now overtaken him. Ethan Warren right behind him. So Kurt Stenberg has taken the lead of this race, actually, while we've been thinking about things, because he's hopped Ethan Warren in the pits. I don't remember that happening.
He was ahead of him anyway.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
Ethan Warren was in the lead of the race.
Oh, Ethan Warren. Sorry, yes.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about Dane Warren. You're right.
So, I was looking at you, I'm like, why aren't you as interested in this as I am? So Kurt Stenberg has managed to hop past Ethan Warren during the pit stop phase. I'm not sure if he rejoined the track ahead of Ethan
His
Warren.
pit stop was 6 seconds shorter than Ethan's. That's why that happened.
That's why that happened. So Kurt Stenberg has put himself in the lead of this race legitimately.
How strange.
How strange indeed. So maybe Ethan Warren had a little snick of damage that he forgot to turn the damage off for. Maybe he changed all 4 tyres, whereas Kurt only changed 2.
Sean stayed out again.
Sean's staying out.
He's 3 seconds a lap slower.
Sonia Warren.
Look at that. Kurt passed him on that lap, and he's already 5 seconds behind him.
Yeah, my goodness. And Griffin Gardner, who's a lap runner, is he's trying to unlap himself from him. Sean's not making it easy, and fair enough. But it looks like Griffin Gardner is going to have the whole shot around the outside of turn 2, and he does indeed. Sonia Warren just saying, Thomas, did you run out of VBs? And Thomas McMillan says, yes. Surely that's something to be celebrated, if anything. An absolute piss. Anyway, Kurt Stenberg leads this race. Dane Warren down in 8th place, and got to be said, he's not blistering up through the field. Perhaps he's put on another set of hard tyres.
Well, I don't think he pitted early enough to be able to make it to the end on soft. Late enough, I should say, to make it to the end on soft. So he's trying to do this entire race on hards, I think. Ethan Warren, of course, doing it completely differently by starting on soft. So I think he might have gone to hards. Kurt Stenberg, I don't think he Well,
Lap 14 he pits, so
he's got the pace at the moment. If he's on hards and he's doing well,
5 laps he'd need to make.
he can eke it out. He's the master of eking out tyres for a very long stint.
Could be on for his second win of the season.
Sean Allen hasn't pit again.
Oh my
He's
goodness.
come past the pit straight. He's
You're
just
right,
up ahead.
Staz.
These guys, they're gonna.
He's trying to go to the point where he's able to put softs on, but he's already dropped down to 3rd place. And as you say, Colin Warwick is only 3 seconds behind him at the moment.
Down in the 15s. These guys were 3 seconds faster than Sean Allen last lap. They will catch him by the end of this lap.
Those tyres are just not enjoying their
You'll see
time.
them in the back of that shot. There they are.
So close.
Wow.
Thompson Millen suggesting to Sonia Warren that she buy Dane VBs. He would drive faster.
Sonia says, "Love you, Thomas."
Something
the,
no one has ever said.
Oh, that's a little bit harsh.
That is a bit harsh. I'll take it
I think
back.
I said we love him earlier in this broadcast.
Oh, probably.
Look at this. They've caught him.
Oh my goodness. And it's academic. Colin Warwick's already down the inside. Sean Allen looks like he's just giving them the position.
He's got nothing to fight
He
with.
has nothing to fight with, and it's not really worth it. Is he going to finally come in? He's on the inside, and he is coming into the pits. So lap 24 for Sean Allen.
Well, he can put softs on now. He's taken the pain now, so he can come in and finish the race on those tyres. We've also had pit stops from Griffin Gardner and Lachlan Burke on this occasion.
So 4 laps after Dane Warren, Sean Allen's tyres have cried enough. And he's already behind Dane Warren, and he hasn't even come into his pit box yet.
Dane Warren's doing 11s, and I think he'd be doing 10s and nearly 9s if he was on softs. So I think Dane is going to finish this race on hards as well, which is good. It's giving other people an opportunity to see if they can make softs work. And, well, I don't know how much time this has cost Sean Allen trying to eke out those hards, but if he can make hay now with the softs, we'll see what he can get out of it.
Got 15 laps remaining in this race. God, that's gone quick.
It's on the move.
He is on the move indeed, so he's coming out in 10th place. The last runner on track not to be lapped, so he is still on the lead lap just. He now has the opportunity to try to punch in some hot laps for the last 15 laps of this race. Colin Warwick comes in on lap 25 for his second pit stop.
He should be able to make it to the end pretty comfortably from here then. Another 14 laps for him.
So who else did we... So Brody Steen, I haven't seen him come in again yet. In fact, I think he might be behind Colin Warwick coming into the pits now. Yeah, there he is.
That's his second stop then.
So who else would we be expecting to see in for a second one? Maybe McMillan. He's out of the race. Never mind.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Kurt Stenberg and David Nenadich were the other two on lap 14, and then other than that, I can't remember anyone relevant.
Griffin Gardner's retired from the race.
Bugger.
Tis a bugger.
Tis a bugger.
Colin Warwick is on the move, and Sean Allen, having pit later than him, is all the way back in the final sector. So this gap, Colin Warwick's strategy has worked out better than Sean Allen, because now he's out in front of him and has fresher tyres than Sean, who's just coming past the start-finish line now.
Yeah, my goodness.
So where's Brody Steen in that? He's up the road already, 5 seconds ahead of Sean on
so
the same tyre, which is one lap younger.
The Race on Oz have really Ferrari'd the strategy with Sean Allen there.
Well, he was trying something different.
I mean, fair enough, but it just hasn't come off very well at all. Dane Warren in 4th place, 19 seconds behind the lead. Kurt Stenberg still in the lead, although it's under a second now,
I don't think
as you can see on our screen.
I don't think Dane has the pace to win if the cars ahead don't need to pit again.
Yeah, if they'd need to pit again, they would lose track positions. So at this point, with 12 laps to go, I mean, even if the tyres are pretty worn, you try to nurse them around and finish as high as you can, because if you pit, then you're going to be coming out down in 5th, 6th place. So Kurt Stenberg will not be happy about Steve Warwick just ahead as the lap traffic, because Ethan Warren is right on his gearbox.
Yeah, Ethan's picked up the pace.
Couple of corners.
He's about 4/10 of a second faster than Kurt.
Kurt in the pits.
Kurt is in the pits, so he couldn't do that again. So he's gone soft, 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 I think. And that explains his pace. But can Ethan Warren go to the end of this race?
Yeah, Ethan pit a lap later than Kurt on lap 15, so...
He's doing 11s, so he might be on hards. Very good pace on hards if he is.
If he is, yeah. And Kurt Stenberg has not yet come out of the pits. He's
just come into the pits. He's
only
Luke Rosella as well behind
stationary.
him. So we've got Luke Rosella just coming down the lane as well, and we're shortly going to see Kurt Stenberg dropped off the jacks, and off he goes. And he's going to drop in probably ahead of Hans Brunswick.
Yep, so he comes out about 17, 18 seconds odd behind Dane Warren in third place. So he's got 11 laps to try to eat into that advantage with those soft tyres.
Well, that'll be interesting. 10 seconds behind. What sort of times was he doing before the
I reckon he was at least a second faster on the soft tyres than Dane Warren's managing to do on those hards. Ethan Warren in the pits as well on lap 28. So they're all going soft, 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 it looks like.
This is so interesting. Because the hards are that much slower that actually stopping an extra time and using softs might be better than going once and using hards.
So Dane Warren is probably going to inherit the race lead here. Zach Baker is currently in the lead, actually, of the race.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which is something that hasn't happened to him in quite a while, I don't believe. So Dane Warren's going to inherit second in the race. So Ethan Warren and Kurt Stenberg both on soft tyres. Kurt Stenberg just coming out of the last corner now as Ethan Warren's leaving the pit lane. So this is actually going to be mighty close between these two. Kurt Stenberg, I reckon Ethan Warren's got it. No, Kurt Stenberg is going to...
He's going to get it. He's going to blast past him.
Blast.
And Ethan Warren probably doesn't have...
Oh, but he's outbroken himself.
Wow. On cold tyres, he was able to fend off Kurt Stenberg, who just got a little bit too much pace. He's got to get the job done now because he's got the warmer tyres. Once Ethan gets up to temperature, he's going to be very difficult indeed to pass. And Kurt Stenberg somehow manages to muscle his way past. Every time these two fight, Dane Warren smiles a little bit inside his helmet, if he was wearing one. The gap 10 seconds at the moment.
So Dane Warren is 20 seconds.
Sorry, you're right.
So they need to get 20
seconds.
2 seconds a lap on Dane Warren in order to catch him.
Ooh.
And Zach Baker, Baker... When did Zach Baker pit?
Let's have a look.
Lap 15, Zach Baker pit.
Yeah,
so
he surely has to come in again.
Unless he's put hards on, and he's just managing his...
Oh, bit of contact there between Kurt Stenberg and Ethan Warren.
What sort of lap times is Zach Baker doing?
Even if he pitted on lap 15 though, like the pace he would have at the end of the race would be appalling.
Would be nothing. And you can see Dane Warren in the background there of that shot. He's about 3.5 seconds ahead of Dane Warren.
No, you can't because we're not looking at that.
Sorry. On the other screen we're looking at, that one. There he is, Dane Warren in the background.
David Nenevic's also in the pits, so Zach Baker's teammate. Meanwhile, behind them, Ethan Warren almost bump drafting Kurt Stenberg through the middle sector.
They've gained 3 seconds in the last lap.
Sean Allen has just set the fastest lap of the race.
Down in 8th place for Sean Allen, so not
Zach Baker's
looking
in.
like a great position for him. So Zach Baker on lap 30.
Meanwhile, Ethan Warren is going to have the inside line through the next corner, and Kurt Stenberg cannot cut off the line. Better traction goes to Ethan Warren, who still has the inside line, and Kurt Stenberg is going to fight back at the final corner. Great battle here, but this is all gifting Dane Warren time because they're not going to be eating into his advantage while they're fighting each other.
Yeah, 18 seconds now, the advantage. Sorry, 17 seconds, the advantage Dane Warren has over his brother Ethan Warren. Kurt Stenberg goes for the inside, but Ethan Warren squeezes him out of it and has to try to go around the outside. Does not have the pace to do so. Ethan Warren holds on to that second position. It's tricky because you can't, like, they're never going to settle. They're never going to settle down and try to, you know, drag each other up to the lead because they both want that second place if they're unable to catch him. But at the same time, if they don't work together, then they're not going to catch him. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation for race drivers like these.
Most certainly is. 17 seconds, the
17
gap.
seconds. They have pulled it. They have gained about a second during this lap over him.
It's too little, too late.
It's not going to be enough. No, they should have. I just don't understand why they didn't stay out unless their tyres were absolutely falling apart, which it didn't look like they were. Their lap times weren't that horrible.
They probably weren't expecting Dane to be that fast on hard tyres, to be fair.
I mean, that's true, but it's why not? It's Dane Warren.
Yeah, but you know, the gap that they pulled in Darwin was much bigger than the one they pulled here.
That's true. I guess it's quite a different track compared to Darwin. So 17 seconds now, the gap between Ethan Warren and Dane Warren. The onboard shot here is showing what Kurt Stenberg's got to do, and I don't think Kurt Stenberg has the pace to catch and overtake Ethan Warren.
I think Ethan's the only one who can do it. If anyone can.
He just needs to get his head down and just start punching out the hottest laps he's ever set in his life.
So there'll be
under 16 seconds now.
7 laps left at the end of this. So he needs more than 2 seconds a lap. It's a tall order.
It is, although I guess Dane Warren's tyres will be getting pretty worn at this stage as well. He pit on lap 20, so 12 laps old, his hard tyres.
Depends if he hits the cliff, really, because the wear apart from when they hit the cliff is pretty linear. I mean, it's very minimal.
It's like
until it all of a sudden goes off, like we saw happen to Sean Allen, where he's losing 3 seconds per lap. Whereas Sean Allen, incidentally, back there in 7th place behind Luke Rosella.
Hasn't worked out for him, that strategy.
Colin Warwick, I think, has played out this race fairly well. He was on the same strategy as Kurt and Ethan, and it's worked out quite well for him.
He's gained 3 positions over his 7th place start.
He's managed to pull out a little bit from Zach Baker, who's had a rough lap on the previous. He's just set a personal best, but he lost 5 seconds on the previous lap. So not quite sure what happened to him there, but he's come a cropper somewhere, and Colin Warwick has some breathing space then.
14 seconds now, the gap between Ethan Warren and Dane Warren. 6 laps left to run, so that is about 2.5 seconds a lap he needs to be gaining on him.
Well, he was 2.2 seconds faster on the previous lap, so Dane Warren can't afford a mistake. Let's put it that way.
No, and he can't afford for those hards to reach that cliff that we were just talking about, because even one lap where he's running on rims would be disastrous. So this is going to come right down to the wire. There is Ethan Warren on your screen in the anonymous black EW Privateer Mustang.
Dane Warren had to deal with a bit of traffic on that lap by the looks of it.
That'll be helping. So 13 seconds now, the gap, and that's not even a lap that's passed.
Oh, I think this guy's trying to unlap himself because Dane is trying to conserve his tyres so that he can get to the end of the race.
Yeah, David Nadich, and I mean, fair enough. David Nadich has got his own race to run. He can't be stuck behind Dane, who's looking after his tyres.
Oh, this is spicy.
He's got to try to find the... Dane...
He's trying to defend with a blunt knife right here is Dane Warren, and in the end, the better option is to let discretion be the better part of valour.
3 seconds on that lap, Stairs.
Wow.
Sorry to cut across you. Ethan Warren now under 11 seconds to Ethan Warren ahead. Not to Dane Warren ahead even. With 4 laps left to run, so it's
going to be a grandstand finish, ladies and gentlemen. Which Warren brother is going to come out of this race with the victory?
Going to be very close indeed. So we've got Dane coming down towards turn 4. Ethan Warren just coming down towards turn 1. Gap is now 10.5 seconds or thereabouts.
And clear track for Ethan Warren at the moment. The next car up the road is David Nenadich, actually. Well, he's not anymore because he's managed to unlap himself from Dane Warren. So there's no cars between Ethan Warren and Dane Warren in that now 10-second gap. It wasn't long ago we said that gap was 20 seconds.
I know, it has come down very quickly, but I'm not sure it's coming down quickly enough because they've only got, at the end of this lap, they've only got 4 laps left to run. And I'm not sure that Ethan has got the pace to gain that much time. Now down to 9.5 seconds.
Well, we've had the onboard from Ethan. Let's compare it to the onboard from Dane. See if we can hear him lifting and coasting or just being ginger on the throttle.
Seemed like a bit of an early lift off. He wasn't sort of slamming down through the gears.
Yeah, I think more to the point is how careful he's being applying the throttle, not putting in any more wheel spin than he needs to. Very, very careful driving, but still pretty quick considering the situation that he's in this race. And 3 laps to go at the end of this one, and the gap is 9.7. It's held remarkably steady there considering, and I think on that lap, what was it, 12.2 on the previous lap from Dane Warren and 10.6 from Ethan Warren.
So not quite 2 seconds.
Not quite 2 seconds.
And that's not what Ethan Warren needs to be doing. So it's 8.5 seconds now is the gap. Getting tantalizingly close to under 8 seconds, and it is indeed. It's now just under 8 seconds.
This one's under 8 seconds as well.
Oh my goodness.
Colin Warwick has had Zach Baker return to his rear bumper after a brief hiatus. The battle will commence between these two. All race long this battle's raged, before and after pit stops.
And between both races as well, both race 1 and this one, race 2, these two, and Luke Rosella, who is just there in the foreground of your shot, so he's not quite in this battle, but those 3 have been sort of joined at the hip for the majority of the racing tonight. Zach Baker going for a wide entry to the last corner while Colin Warwick went defensive. Zach Baker getting a slipstream down the start-finish straight. Meanwhile, the gap at the front is still under 8 seconds, but I think it's too late. I think it's too little too late, unless the tyres
down the inside goes Zach Baker. Colin Warwick gives him the space, and they're going to approach the next corner side by side, but Colin Warwick gets marginally better traction and has parked his car in the middle of the road so as not allow Zach Baker a free pass. And he is defending like his life depends on it. We're going to get another marker for the leaders as Dane Warren is about to start the penultimate lap of the race. And the gap as they come across the line is 5.7 seconds. And that is so tantalizingly close that it means that Ethan Warren has to take out more than 2.5 seconds per lap in order to just be on the back of his brother by the end of the race.
Yeah, unless Dane's tyres fall off that cliff, I don't see that happening. I think he has got this one.
Yeah, it's just tantalising. He's under 2 seconds. Oh, that's a bit wide from both of Colin Warwick and Zach Baker here.
I said Luke Rosella wasn't involved in this battle.
He is now.
He now is. He's trying to go down the inside of, the outside of Zach Baker, coming through the kink. And he's hanging onto the outside, coming into turn 2. Going to try to drive around the outside, but that would be a little bit ambitious.
Zach Baker's pretty strong there. He turned it in from quite a narrow angle and managed to close a fair bit up on Colin Warwick. Might be struggling a little bit with the setup on his tyres.
Pit on lap 25 did Warwick, so he's done 14 laps almost on presumably softs. And Zach pit about 5 laps later, so he's got much fresher tyres.
Well, Dane Warren has just started the last lap and the gap has come down to 2.9. It's probably too little too late for Ethan Warren. This is a bit like Monza on the weekend. If it was to go one more lap, we might be in with a grandstand finish. You can just see Dane Warren up ahead from the onboard of Ethan Warren. It's going to be under 2 seconds very, very shortly indeed. But if it was 40 laps, that might be the difference. Meanwhile, Zach Baker has gone down the inside of Colin Warwick, and it's going to be almost 3 wide as they come across the line to start the last lap. It's Zach Baker leading ahead of Luke Rosella, and poor old Colin Warwick is going to end up losing 2 positions here if Luke Rosella can get through. And look at the defensive line from Zach Baker chasing Colin Warwick across the road, and in the end gets into the back of Zach. And he might get served back there. Colin Warwick manages to get the position. Luke Rosella, great job from him, managing to get through.
Ethan Warren's in the lead.
Into what's happened?
Ethan Warren's in the lead.
Dane Warren, something's happened to Dane Warren.
What happened? While we were watching that battle, Dane Warren is in second place. Ethan Warren has taken the lead. What happened?
So Ethan Warren's going to come across the line to win the race. I think it might have been a mistake in the middle sector, but it is Ethan Warren who wins the race. Unbelievably, we were following that other battle. Here is the replay of... Here is the replay. Sorry about this, guys. He's had a moment. On the last lap, he got a wiggle on through there.
Turns 5 and 6, I think that is, and he rejoins. And looks like his tyres may have just completely...
Yep, look at that. The front the rear left is down. The rear left is down.
Completely
he
gone.
Tried to make it to the end, but they just gave up on him with half a lap to go. Dane Warren concedes the win to his brother, Ethan Warren. Up until then, a masterful effort of driving conservation, but just wasn't enough to make it to the end.
Manages to lose. Oh my God, and he nearly didn't finish the race. He span out on the last corner. Lewis Hamiltoned around on 3 tyres, 3 wheels on his wagon, was able to cross the line in second, about 4 seconds ahead of Kurt Stenberg, who you can see there in the background coming around that last corner, so tantalisingly close for Kurt Stenberg. But Dane Warren managing to hold on to that second position. What a grandstand finish while we were watching a completely different battle stairs.
Well, that was all going off. In the end, it was, it was... Luke Rosella ended up in 4th after that. Sean Allen got ahead of Colin Warwick. They all sort of got into each other. And, wow.
What an end to this race.
Whoops. Struggling with this replay graphic. Sorry about that, guys. And this was Dane Warren on the last lap, the replay.
Yeah, just complete. Look, he's gone way off deep. He can't even get it turned back on, and that tyre is completely gone.
He was struggling there. Even then, he was just coasting.
Yep. And just, yeah, no, it can't. It's so ginger on the throttle. Can't do anything. And did very well to get it home, actually, considering that. Oh my goodness.
You can understand that. This is what Ethan Warren saw. His brother gradually getting closer, struggling with a deflating tyre.
Num 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 num.
I would have thought all of his Christmases had come at once. Well, he did the 2-stop. Soft tyres all the way. And that was the easiest pass for the lead that you've ever seen.
Absolutely. Colin Warwick and Dave Nadich are now also out of the points race. Says Matt Dunlop. Thank you very much for the information. Do some of your uni work. But that is a all Warren win rate for this particular round, but two different Warrens.
Dane still finished second after that.
Yeah.
So Kurt Stenberg somehow managed to be 17 seconds behind. We didn't see why that was. Because he wasn't that far behind.
No, because him and Ethan Warren were battling. Although I guess maybe Ethan Warren just left him in the dust when he chased off after Dane Warren. Maybe Colin Warren, maybe Kurt Stenberg had an issue somewhere, and while he was trying to keep up with Ethan, perhaps.
Yeah, that's a bit strange because he was fighting with Ethan only a few laps before that. So if we're just sort of looking at the live timing, he had a spin on the penultimate lap by the looks of it in the middle sector. Lost about 8 seconds there. Well, let's ask him now. Kurt Stenberg joins us. Kurt, congratulations on the podium there. And, well, you were in that battle, but what happened? Looks like you fell away towards the end. We were so focused on the front battle, but it looks like you lost a bit of time on the penultimate lap.
Yeah, mate, I had a crash in qualifying. I got hit by another vehicle, so I had to put... I actually had to use an extra set of tyres, so I had to put used tyres on for that last stint. So I put the shootout tyres back on the car, which
well, there you go.
I put them on, and yeah, I was battling pretty hard there with Ethan. Didn't look after me tyres too well, and the tyres went on me on the second last lap, so I lost it at the back corner before the second chicane there. So I hit the wall, and I was just driving around trying to not lose the spot to the guys behind on that last lap. And then I saw what happened with Dane, and it's unfortunate that we weren't close enough to be able to capitalise on it.
Wow, a masterful effort then to bring it home on the podium, considering that you had built that gap which gave you that luxury.
Yeah, mate, like I was happy that it was a 21-second gap because, yeah, the tyres were 10% or whatever on the last lap, because after I'd had a spin, it was about 22% when I had the spin, and after it had the spin, it was undrivable. So I was just literally drive around and try and get the podium. But yeah, I'm disappointed I wasn't closer to get Dane, and I'm disappointed that I had a bit of a screen freeze there in the middle of the race and cost me my gap to Ethan, which would have helped me in that whole battle and not put me in that situation.
Well, we saw that you had it looked like you had a shorter pit stop than Ethan in that race as well. Do you know what might have been the reason for that?
I do. I didn't put my full fuel in my first pit stop deliberately. I put less fuel in so that I could put fuel in to cover tyres in the second stop because I wanted to make the stops as short as possible. So that was my plan. Put less fuel in the first stop, put the last little bit in, the last little 4 or 5 laps of fuel in the second stop, and yeah, go to the finish.
Well, there you go. That was a good strategy. Unfortunately, just didn't quite work out in the end with the tyres going away from you. But congratulations on that podium.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
You're very welcome. Let's have a chat now to... Well, who shall we start with, Madbird? We've got Sean Allen, Ethan Warren, Dane Warren. Maybe I'll throw to you, Madbird, to have a chat to Sean Allen, who finished on the podium in race 1 tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Cracking first race for you, Sean, and managing to get up into the podium positions and then defended for grim life for most of the race. How did you find the first race when you got your podium position?
It was good. A nice battle with Thomas throughout the race. Yeah, there wasn't much to it other than that. Really just got lucky that first corner incident that hurt Kurt the most and almost had me out of the race again on the first lap. But yeah, I was able to get through and was pretty good.
Absolutely. And then in the second race, your strategy just did not seem to work out for you. It started on hard tyres, we assumed, judging by your pace early on, and then just the one-stop strategy for yourself did not work out in the end.
Nah, look, in this game you got to try something. I tried it. I was either going to look like a hero or a fool, and tonight I ended up being the fool.
It happens to the best of us. So, Stairs, I'll hand you over to whichever of the Ethans you happen to want to speak to first.
No worries. I'll just say to Sean Allen, good.
Congratulations!
Congratulations on your podium, and good to try something different. It makes it interesting from a viewing point of view.
Absolutely.
Let's have a chat to our winner from race 1, and well, another driver who tried a different strategy in race 2. But we'll talk about race 1 first for you, Dane. That one went about as well as any race that you could hope to be in victory in. Hope to race. Race 1 was a very well managed affair from yourself, Dane.
Yeah, well, it was probably thanks to the hiccup off the start with me and Thomas. Unfortunately, Kurt got a bit caught up in it, which I really need to see the replay because, yeah, it was a bit of a mess, but yeah, just got the lead out of turn 1 and just stayed consistent really and took the win.
So how did you see that incident? Did you not see a car on the inside there, or was it just a bit of a surprise?
Yeah, I saw him, but I was yelling to him to sort of back out of it because there's a sharp wall, you know, just up the road in that moment, and I could have sworn I had Ethan or Kurt just on the left of me, so I didn't want to suddenly change lanes or anything. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I have to have another look at it.
Fair enough. And race 2, the strategy almost worked for you. It looked like quite a masterful effort of tyre conservation, but in the end it appeared that the 2-stop strategy was the right way to go, and just losing it in the last lap must have been pretty hard.
Yeah, I'm actually not too displeased with it really, despite losing on the last lap. I suppose I learned quite a bit for next round. The first in that race probably could have gone a bit longer and not had that issue, and I battled a bit with a couple of cars. I probably could have saved the tyres a bit more on that, so there's a lot to learn, and I definitely think it could have or should have worked tonight.
So you might have been able to make it work if you had stopped a little bit later. Does that mean that you had a bit of tyre left when you came in?
Yeah, well, I was talking to the others about this during the race. I had a bug or something in my console, so I was looking at what tyres to choose swap to, and I had like a bunch of softs to choose from and no hards. But in the end, I apparently chose hard, so it confused me a bit and probably made me panic a bit more than I needed to. So yeah, that longer first stint would have helped heaps.
Interesting, very interesting. Well, it's interesting also to hear you say that you've got stuff to learn, because even the fastest have stuff to learn. Congratulations on 2 podiums tonight.
Yep, thanks guys.
And moving on to Ethan Warren, you broke your brother's dominance in qualifying tonight with 2 glittering pole positions, a second place, and a victory. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, it was pretty successful, I would say. Those qualifying sessions were really surprising for me. I know Dane made a few mistakes in qualifying, so that sort of gave us the upper hand. But I knew in race trim I just didn't have enough pace to overcome him, so just had to try and do my best in quali and get the starts right.
Well, you definitely managed that. We saw you pretty strong off the starts tonight. And in qualifying, I mean, it was the shootout. Of course, you only had one go at it, but you only needed one go at it in qualifying for race 1 as well.
Yeah, the qualifying set was actually pretty hooked up, which is always good. But managed to piece both laps together quite well. So I was pretty happy with that.
There you go. And when that last race was coming to a close and it looked like you were sort of catching him, you needed about 2.5 seconds per lap maybe, and it didn't look like you were going to get him to the end. Were you still thinking that his tyres might go off like that?
I wasn't really thinking I was going to catch him. I was just pushing as hard as I could on the tyres, and I wasn't thinking that gap would come down as much as I would like, but in the end, unfortunate mistake, and I was able to get the lead.
There you go. Well, once again, Ethan, congratulations on 2 great results and a terrific win with a 2-stop strategy in race 2.
Thanks, guys.
No worries. Madbird, closing thoughts. There was a good strategy battle tonight, wasn't it?
It was. Bloody fantastic night of racing. I'm glad to be back. And yeah, the choices of tyres in the longer one and the differing strategies made for an absolute cracking end. I think we were paying more attention to that Colin Warwick Zach Baker battle because we'd sort of gone, oh, Dane's got this. It's going to be close, but you know.
Yeah.
And then I glanced over at the other monitor and I just saw Ethan Warren in one position, and I was what?
Yeah.
So
we definitely tried to make up for that with the replays afterwards.
kept us on our toes from beginning to end. So that's all we can ask for in the box. What about yourself, Stairs?
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't ask for more. Got some surprises all throughout. And, it was interesting when we did this format for Darwin. It was a different type of strategy battle with everyone doing 1-stops but using different tyres. This time it was 2-stop versus 1-stop. And it was oh so close to working for Dane, but in the end 2 stops was the right strategy for Ethan and many others tonight.
Yeah, it's what we like to see, differing strategies which all have their pluses and minuses and sort of wind up being roughly even, but it all comes down to the driver in the end. So where are we off to next, Des?
The Bend. We're lucky enough.
Sorry.
Trying to hype people up for the next round, and that's what you say. We are South Australians. We are allowed to poo in our own domain. But no, we've just ended 4 weeks of back-to-back races, and we'll take a well-earned rest break next week, and then we're back at it for the final 3 rounds of the championship, starting 2 weeks from now at the Bend, and then another round at the Bend, and then an exciting finish to the championship, we should say, at the Bathurst 1000 at a date still yet to be decided, but we're thinking it'll be very early in November. So as not to clash with other series and football finals and all that sort of stuff. And we very much look forward to that, bringing together a strong commentary team for that one.
Oh yeah, that was an absolute cracker last time out, and I had a blast doing the commentary for it with you and the other boys, so very much looking forward to that one, Stairs. And despite my words, I am looking forward to the Bend in 2 weeks' time, so I hope to see everybody there then.
And I also hope to see everybody there then. Thank you very much indeed, everyone, for watching, for jumping in the live chat. We do appreciate your comments. We will see you in 2 weeks' time at the Bend. Bye for now.
Have a good night.